some financial problems too. What he didn't understand was I was working on this deal, and I had invested $175,000 into a poor independent contractor like I was at the time. Was a lot of money. I had like a dozen people's money involved in this thing, and
Wow.
we were going to make. Well, I made my first $1,000 on that deal. What we did was this: we bought two boxcar load refrigerator 12. Okay, before they changed over to what we put in refrigeration systems now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they went from being $35 and something for a 50-pound bottle to $800 for a 50-pound bottle of this refrigerant. And we bought two train loads of 50 by 50-pound bottles. I mean, not two boxcar loads.
Mm-hmm.
This is $175,000, and I think we ended up netting, when everything was said, close to $9 million.
Wonderful.
It was great until we sat down with our tax people. That's when I found out how come business people hate to pay taxes. I understand. They don't feel that they should pay taxes. But I also understand is if you don't pay taxes, the infrastructure that we have, even though it's crumbling or whatever, and I ain't just talking about the streets, I'm talking about the bad cops, I live in Arizona where we have beautiful roads. I mean, really, really beautiful. But then again, in the summertime, when it gets to be 120 degrees, which is what it is going to be tomorrow, people who don't have to get on the highway don't get on the highway. What they do is they do whatever they have to do. And what you have to do when it's 120 degrees is to stay cool.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out, because I'm just talking to you and meeting in progress. Okay, it's on Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah, the thing here. Now all I got to do is find out Zoom out of all of the different icons on this phone. Oh, here it is, Zoom. Back to meeting. How about now?
Now I can see you moving. Before it was just a still picture of you.
Okay, yeah. I got that thing going. Okay. Yeah, well, now this is a droid. Now this is recording this so that you can, because I did a little research on you. I noticed that you post links so that somebody who couldn't or didn't get a chance to at least listen in to what was going on, you posted someplace.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what your group is about, right?
Right.
This is good. But when I read that about you, lost a lot of people through cancer and most of the treatment. It reminds me of one of the reasons when I first got into this network marketing business, using the products that I'm marketing, wellness as compared to anything else. Because when I first got in network marketing, I was marketing financial independence.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't have any idea about how important a dollar that you don't have to pay out is worth. There's a school of thought by a guy named, you probably wait a minute, you may be over 40, right?
I'm 52, honey.
You don't look like you're over 40. There's a guy named Charlie Tremendous Jones.
Charlie Tremendous Jones.
I got a set of his CDs. I got a set of his cassettes about 8 years ago when I first got in network marketing. And this is one of the things he said. For every dollar that you invest in your mind, you put $3 in your pocket. And he said the best way to sell anything is to tell the story of how it came about you using it. And I thought to myself, now this guy was he was a lead earner in half a dozen network marketing companies at the same time.
Wow.
Leader in only 2, but I was in 12. My wife told me that was way too many. It's entirely too many things that you have to deal with at our age, because we're both over 65 years old. And I told her, I said, look, I work less now than I ever did in my life, and I worked for 50 years. Mm-hmm. But I get paid 20 times more money. Because I'm assuming that's why I do a thing like every day when I go out to mail something, because we sell stuff on the internet. Mm-hmm. I don't just sell coffee, whatever. I sell success tools. And I sell a lot of success tools to people who are old network marketers, old people who are learning network marketing. And they don't understand all the different systems. That's why network marketers are between 50 years old and 70 years old. They get into these different programs where it's like they put down a certain amount of money and they have to convince a bunch of other people to put a certain amount of money in or whatever. And when they get a certain amount of money in something, they can move up this ladder or whatever. Well, to me, as a network marketer who has a product that somebody actually can put in their hand as compared to a position, that's a waste of time. And what I do is I make contact with those people, but I don't want them, and I don't argue with them about it, because let them tell us, hey, look, they're making killer money. And I find it fascinating that a lot of people who are striving to get to 4 figures And that's when they call me up and they want me to take a look at their business. But after I explain to them, look at your business, I'm going to charge you $75.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to do it within the next week. But you're going to
Uh-huh.
put on my PayPal account, or I'm not going to do it at all. And they go, why would I do that? I said, because you want my opinion, right? They go, no, I want you to join my business. Well, there you go. Well, let me buy your way in. No, then I've got to learn. There's a learning curve. I have a group of people that I call a success team. Everybody in network marketing needs one. I noticed that there's like 5 different people that are in and out of your page every day. Those are the people on your success team, whether you realize it or not. I have 75 of those kind of people. But most of them only use Facebook, the paid part of Facebook. They don't go to Facebook for nothing else. If they want to talk to somebody, pick up a phone and call them up, because that's how you communicate with people. You don't post it. I just left the bathroom, or I'm hungry. Would somebody bring me over a po' boy sandwich? You don't post that kind of crap unless you're an immature person and you have nothing else to do with your time. But then they run into somebody like me, and I'll tell them about themselves. My wife says, and I chastise people too much. So somebody wants to get in business with me, or they want me to be their mentor. I say, look, like my time, from what I understand, is worth a little over $80 an hour, 24 hours a day. But I get to sleep 10 of those hours. So I used to sleep only 5 or 6 of those hours when I was working. Now I sleep 5 or 6 hours every night. Then I sleep 4 or 5 hours during the day. And sometime today, after we do this, because I talk to half a dozen people since, because I've been avoiding getting on any kind of group calls and explaining myself to people for a couple of reasons. One of them is I do that with my downline people, to the tune of 800 of them at a time. And a bunch of them don't get it. Some of them that I care a lot about really don't get it. One of them that comes to mind is he's in Texas, in Baytown, Texas. Whenever I forgot his name. I sure think it flew right out of my head. And I was just thinking, if his name started to come out of my mouth, and what? Wait a minute. He's got a son that's at home. He's got a new great-grandbaby, a new granddad. His name will pop to me pretty soon. Usually in about a half hour, names that. Oh, well, I know that I can look it up. I don't know that I'm on this thing right here. Now, you're in Canada someplace, right? Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted myself while you were talking. I'm from Colorado. I'm here in Colorado.
Colorado. Okay. Switch camera. Oh wow! I can switch cameras from not just on me. I can switch it to something else. I have there's a group of 68-year-old ladies, and all of them are 68. It's like I think it's 14, 15 of them, and they are on here. And what they do is I'm running down the highway, or I'm going up into the mountains. Like today, I would have went up in the mountains, but I was going to do this for you. And up in the mountains, the signal is sporadic, but it's cooler up there because it's only like 85 or 90 degrees up there. But down here, it's like 115, something like that up there. And I'm sitting in the back. And again, it don't affect me like it affects a lot of people. Of course, I don't run around in it. I just sit here and look at it and just be amazed at the fact that I've got 15 different kinds of fruit trees running in my backyard. And in Arkansas, I couldn't grow nail one of these things.
Really?
But out here, I can grow a guava. I didn't even know what a guava was until I came out here.
Huh.
I didn't know what a tangelo was. What else was that? I was a papaya. I thought papaya was something that the Egyptians stripped off and they wrote and they cooked it up and they made paper out of it. That's what I thought it was. To eat, Out here, in Arizona, everybody has palm trees. Okay. Mm-hmm. But when I met my wife, her and her husband, well, he had been dead for 2 years, but they had a palm tree and a cactus tree that was in their front yard go through their house. I mean, they had some high wind out here once, 20 years ago, whatever. They went through their house, and when these things crashed into their house, they had to be relocated for a while. And while they were gone, people came in and stole everything out of their house. My wife goes, why would people, and she's talking to me now. I'm a black man from the ghetto now. And she says this to me. My wife is Italian and her husband was Polish. Okay? And she goes, well, why would people do like that? And I said, look, when we first met, I said, you've always been a head. If you had a have not, she goes, well, I teach in a public school system and I teach poor black kids and brown kids and yellow kids. I said, yeah, you teach them, but you don't bring them home. You don't have to do the fact that when you're a black woman and you send your child off to school that the cops can kill him before he even gets to school, or some gang him off and have him selling drugs whether he wants to or not, or just shooting for something to do is to prove that you'll shoot somebody. You don't have to do. Well, yeah, but I had girls anyway. This is my wife's a typical person. But this is typical of people who really don't get what it's like to be one of the have-nots. My wife says, well, I'm not rich. Yeah, I struggled my whole life to become wealthy, not rich. I just want to be well off. So I tell myself. But then, after, like I said, after I made that $1 million, life was different. The difference was more than anything else. To me and those friends of mine who made that money, all of a sudden we became ostracized by our community. And it wasn't because all of us were black, because all of us weren't black, okay? And all of us weren't men, okay? But all of us that grew up there, and one of them was a guy named Joe Scroggins, who's a white boy who graduated from high school, who had his hand mangled up in a machine, a farm machine, and he invested $20,000, which sounds like, to him, was a whole hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
When he got his money, I think it was almost $200,000 he got. He opened up a factory where he takes old pizza making machines and he takes them apart. Because this is what he always wanted to do. And he was always a cashier at a convenience store because that was the only kind of job he could get. But he bought a building, put it in a factory, and he remodels pizza making machines, not pizza dough making machines, not pizza making machines, dough making machines. And he powder paints them and whatever. And he gets like $15,000 after he gets finished with one. And he goes to like maybe one or two of these things a month. Now you have to understand something. He went from being somebody who worked take home $250 a week to somebody who didn't know exactly what he was going to be taking home, but he took a chance. Because when we were in school, you understand, we were in that generation where we actually watched our parents and their grandparents do stuff to each other as blacks and whites. That we were just we're appalled at what some of the stuff that they did, because we went to school with each other every day. And I remember the first time I sit down and tried to talk to Joe, I beat him up because it seemed like that guy had come up missing, and they found him, what was left of him. But that was white people, but they had something for them to do to make them feel better about how bad their situation was. They put other people down. And I remember talking to Joe after I beat him up, and we were like 15 or 16 or whatever. And while we were talking, I said, come walk with me over to James Ward's house. Because, man, I ain't allowed to go to, my best friend was a white guy. His name was James Ward. His friend lived in the city dump. They lived close to it. They didn't live above it or below it. They lived in the dump. You go down to the dump, make right into the dump. You go down halfway through the dump, about a quarter mile. Their house right there, and there was still a mile left of dump. Okay? Wow. And it was 21 of James Ward's in his family, including his mom and dad. And I ate at their house a lot, and I was told never to even go down to their house because they were poor white trash. They had a word for them that that they don't even use anymore, because I think white people, it's like using the N-word with black people. It's called filth billy. Nobody calls it that anymore. Rednecks call each other redneck all the time. But a filth is like 15 levels below a redneck, which means that the first time you kissed a girl with your sister, first time that you ever first time you ever got anything, you stole it. Because that's what filth billies do. They don't bathe, they don't take care of themselves, they don't care about nothing. They don't go to jail either, because nobody, the sheriff's deputies or whatever, and the police where I come from, don't put them in jail, because when they put them in jail, they got to empty out the rest of the jail because they smell just that bad. And they're not, up until I think maybe 20 years ago, where I come from in Arkansas, they force you to now, when you first go to jail, if you're going to jail for any length of time at all, like for a week or whatever, they make you take off your clothes and they put on an outfit. But this outfit, before they give it to you, they wash you off. Okay? They disinfect you and clean you off. And that was one of the things they had to learn how to do. And I'm in Arkansas. That's how come when I sit down with my friends, we got past our race problems, and we decided that these guys didn't know nothing about James Ward, my friend Joe Scroggins. They didn't know anything about Freon. They weren't engineers. They were people who worked for a living and were scared more than anything else. We were all going to end up like our parents. Yeah. Old with nothing. Old with the only thing we could do is go fishing or whatever. But according to Joe, like I talked to Joe just the other day, him and his wife came over. I flew out here. They had us to go to one of his granddaughters is a what do you call those people who make clothes? She's a couturier.
I have no idea.
So those people, actually sew dresses, beautiful dresses and gowns and stuff like that. People like, Gloria Vanderbilt or whoever, Gloria Vanderbilt comes up with the design. Somebody else actually draws it all out, and somebody else sews it all up. And then you put the name on it. Because that ain't the real world. So I looked at some of the stuff because I've been listening. I've been watching some videos that you got on your stuff. Wow, I've met on the internet half a dozen different kinds of doctors that make a lot of sense, and they prove what they're saying. Like right now, what's that? I'm talking with a lady from Papua New Guinea who wants me to get into her crotendum business.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that.
And I told her when there were some people who tried to take my coffee business from the founder of the company, that was one of the things that they did. They tried to take the coffee business, and they took a bunch of people. Now they took probably 7,000 people out of my organization.
Wow.
And at the time, I only had like 8, But I looked at it like this, because I was asked to go with them. But every 5-figure earner and every network marketing company gets approached by other network marketers all the time.
Yeah.
Because they say, like you're successful or whatever, and you can bring 100 people with when you come. You'll have just a bump in your income or whatever. And I don't know how to explain, and I have to do this at least once a week. I don't know how to explain to somebody, look, that shows no integrity whatsoever. I'm not believing in the product that I market. I use the product that I market every day. And I have people who, in litigation, people. There's a couple of ladies that are suing back in Arkansas, but there's one lady who had a breast taken off, and she met me, and I gave her, she didn't meet me. She knew me from back in the day. Mm-hmm. One of those girls who I wanted to get with, but when I was growing up, none of this get somebody. You had to leave. You had to become a teenager. You had to be like 18, 19. You had to leave home. You get free love to everybody talk about it. At least if you were black, you did. If you was white, I guess you could do that at home. Because I listened to some stuff coming out of my wife's mouth, and I said, my wife raised her 2 daughters. Like they were in the 60s anyway. She let them bring their boyfriends home. The first time they had sex, it was at home. The kind of stuff I couldn't even imagine. Because I had 2 older sisters, a mother and a grandmother. And I was taught from a very young age that, first of all, men are liars, and they lie for conversation. I was taught to tell the truth, shame the dead, which makes perfectly good sense to me. But when I sit to talk to another man about it, after I explain it to him, and wait a minute, you want me to tell your wife you're with me today, and you're going to the track, or you're going to the casino? Yeah, man, just do me that favor, brother. I'm not your brother, motherfucker. I don't lie for me. Why would I lie for you?
Yeah, I hear you.
And they go, wow, you got your butt on your shoulder or whatever. You don't get it, like you have to be a man of integrity. You got to be that way 24/7. You can't just pick it up and put it down like what was that? I had a thing where I dealt with a bunch of when I first came out here, I dealt with a bunch of Mormons. I took them as a challenge because, first of all, they don't drink coffee. They're not allowed to drink coffee. I sell coffee. Whoa. It took me almost 4 months of talking to a whole bunch of Mormons to get them to even try it. And the only way I can get them to try it now is just me and you and we grown folks here. You know what an enema is, right? Mm-hmm. I had them take our coffee, get the cream and sugar in it, put it inside the same thing my mom and them used to use when my sisters took enemas, and shove it up their rear and then their colon out with it. Mm-hmm. Now, that was almost 5 years ago. I've got like 15 Mormon customers, and that's what they use our product for. But they don't go to the internet and buy it. They don't come. What they do is they give me a call, and I run a box over there to them. But I charge them almost 3 times as much as it costs me. And they don't have a problem because they don't want to see me. If they call me up and have me come over and deliver them some product, and I would deliver some product. I'll deliver you a $25 box of coffee if you're willing to pay me a $100 bill. I'll do that. Okay? And we'll sit down and we'll talk, and we'll talk about the prop, whatever, because they got a lot there. They're against, considering they're a Christian, whatever, they're against a whole lot of stuff. I always thought Christianity was all about love, I had to get to be a 60-something-year-old man before I figured out that religion is a great way to control people.
Yeah.
But I came out here, and one of the people after the Mormons I hung out with a shaman. I didn't even know what a shaman was. I had no clue. The lady's name was Elvia Delgado. she's a shaman. Mother was a shaman. Her grandmother was a shaman. Her great grandmother was a shaman.
Mm-hmm.
And she says she never takes anything, whether it be air, something back. But she taught me about the 100 million Native people that was killed in genocide in America. And I went, wait a minute. Only time white people taught me about genocide was, they didn't teach me the genocide. They taught me about what the Nazis did to the Jews. Mm-hmm. And then that explained to me, you know, that, well, yeah, the winner of everything in history right now actually happened. The problem is the winner don't actually write down what actually happened. The winner writes down want to have happened, okay? How they wanted to proceed. That's just the way it is. Now, what time? This thing says what? That clock is wrong. This says it's 1:19. You said it was going to be 2 to 4, right?
Well, I usually go for an hour, and I start at, it's 2 Mountain or 4 Eastern. So we'll be here for however long we want to talk.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm thinking I don't have anything I have to do, because I noticed that my wife and the granddaughter that put the great grandkids down for their nap, I think.
So tell us about your coffee. Tell us what it does. What's it help people with?
The herb itself is 4,000 years old, okay? And where it comes from a rainforest. There ain't a lot of them left. There was only originally, after we became a civilized human beings about 100,000 years ago, there was only like 7 rainforests at that time. Well, there was only 2. One in South America, one in Asia, okay? Mm-hmm. And this herb has been used in Asia for 4,000 years, okay? Now, it's in the oldest medical text that there is, which is a book called Shay Nam. I actually had a guy, since his name is Lou. I don't know how to pronounce his first name because it got 2 letters in it, but he was in somewhere in one of the Koreas, whether it was North Korea or South Korea. All I knew is I got in trouble with the federal government behind it. But all I wanted was need a copy. Because in America, if we want something, we can go on the internet, or we can go to the library, and they got books, you know. Well, everywhere in the world ain't like that, Catherine. Right. And that's a shame, because see, knowledge is power. If you want to keep somebody subjugated or whatever. In fact, the other day somebody said me something. If you want to see how a society is how advanced it is, check how it's treating its women. Think about that. Mm-hmm. Respect the women. Your society is way behind, because 100,000 years ago, women were something called the patriarchs of the village, not just the family. Mm-hmm. Couldn't ask a wise woman. There was no such thing as a wise man. Mm-hmm. That came up with Christianity. They flipped the script. Okay, that's what they did. They started doing everything in the name of Jesus. In fact, that's what they do. And they lay hands on you when somebody's in the name of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Great. Except that my grandmother said, because I asked her once when I was a kid, what about Catholicism as compared to being a Baptist? She goes, them Catholic people, they worship cup instead of what's in it. Mm. What the heck? But then I had to go to college and step in some theological classes to figure out exactly what. But my grandmother went to the 3rd grade. My mom went to the 5th grade. I have 2 degrees in mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. I wish I had one in chemical engineering, because when I got involved with this herb, that was one of the first things I had to learn about it. It only had a 4,000-year history. It had all these words I never heard of, like polysaccharides. Mm-hmm. And what I thought to myself, what is that? There's all these different little small pieces of atoms that make up everything, okay? And every atom is different. Have separate jobs. When I first got involved with a guy named Dr. Kenneth Crowe, was a guy who just got involved in the company, and he was up for a Nobel Prize, and because of the research he had done with this herb. And my question to him was, because he used to have these calls every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I got on a call on Wednesday night, and I usually would just listen, because first of all, I didn't understand network marketing. I knew how to sell stuff because I'd been selling myself for years, because I was an independent person. I was an in-home repairman, and I fixed stuff in people's homes, which means I not only had to fix stuff, I had to drive a vehicle, and I also had to learn how to curtail how I felt about what somebody said to me. Like, hey, come here, boy, and kind of stuff. I just charge people more money when they call me boy.
Oh, my goodness.
money. I wouldn't argue with them, because I think it's so stupid. Like those people who I'd show up at their house and they say, well, nigga, go around back. Yes, ma'am, sure will. And then you go to the back door and you go in and do whatever you got to do. Or you roll to somebody's house and you knock on the front door and a little kid comes in and the kid turns around and goes, Mima, there's a nigger at the door. And you go, well,
oh my goodness.
They just going to charge money. But if the parent hears it, they go, well, I don't know where they got that from. Oh, really? You do really, I'm going to put my hand in your refrigerator. I get to touch your personal stuff that goes in your body, But like I say, that was one of the first things I found was about what I had to learn was about this herb and all of the different, the complex. In fact, that's what I was taught when I was a kid, something called complex carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. The complex one of the building blocks of our bodies. Okay? It's the building blocks of human beings. And when I figured out, after talking to Dr. Kenneth Crow, doing a lot of research, downloading something onto rishirescue.com and downloading just what this herb by itself is about. And because I want to know how come if you were found looking for it where it grows, it would cut your head off. Wait a minute, why would you cut somebody's head off? It was for the wealthy, because it was called God's herb. It was for in fact, in Korea it's called the herb of the emperor with 1,000 mistresses. I can understand that because my wife first got there, one of the things she goes, like we grown folks here. Once a week or so isn't enough for me. She says, okay, fine. Problem is, there's all this time on our hands. Okay, so and right behind me there is a hot tub. I don't know if you can see it back there, but I had one in my home in Arkansas, but I didn't have it sitting outside. Okay, this was sitting outside and out here in the desert, and at night it's beautiful. You lay there and you look up at the stars and whatever. But you know what, you want to get amorous. And in fact, one of the things she says at our age we're blessed because a lot of people our age are having so many health issues, erectile dysfunction, all that kind of stuff. And I go, well, I feel for them, and I be looking for those kind of people all the time. Problem is, people go, well, just give me some of it, and if it works for me, give me some of it. Really? I would much rather show you how well. One time before I was married to my wife, and I was just thinking, I tell myself, I'd much rather show it to your wife and talk to your wife about it. Because what your wife would do, she would buy it, she would give it to you, whether you realize she's giving it to you or not. Because one lady in Nebraska I met out here in Arizona, her husband is a farmer. Her and her husband farm, they winters out here. And her husband wasn't into natural nothing. Okay, he didn't try the coffee, and so she ended up getting some of our capsules. She got an Exilium, which is for the brain. She got Ganoderma for the body, and Sakana is for his sex. And she gave him 1 or 2 times a day. She gave them to him in capsule form. Put the cap around, put them in there with. So he didn't know he was taking them in the first place. All she knew was after about a week of her doing this, every day at lunchtime they had a nooner. Something to be married 40 years, you just don't get. Okay.
Yeah.
And every year when they come out here, they take me and my wife to eat with it. And one of the things the lady says, one of these I won't tell him, but I'm still trying to get him past the fact me and you that we all sitting at the same table because he's German, his wife is Jamaican, my wife is Italian, my family is from West Africa. Okay, and the people that of different ethnic background, it's probably just that. Because according to him, Germans are master race. Really, master race, y'all lost, but the master race, okay. And from what some of my South American friends say, that Hitler ended up in South America, which I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing surprised me anymore. But I had a chance to go to South America. I didn't go looking for Hitler or anything. I was looking for people who had somebody in their family who spoke English so that I could talk to them about getting themselves out of the abject poverty that I've seen all around me. I was in Argentina. I was in Ecuador. See, I get paid out of 9 different countries on my coffee business. Mm-hmm. But sponsor somebody in that country, I can't do it on the internet because I'm not multilingual. I speak American. I don't even speak English. So I have to go find people who are listening to rap music in other countries because they understand English, and have them talk to people for me And what ends up happening, I end up sponsoring them and showing them how with the tools that I send them, which really kills me because, see, sometimes I have to pay more for tariff shipping training tools like books. Like I had to send a dozen copies of, what was the name of it? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki book. Mm-hmm. Well, I'd have to, but I promised this group that I was putting together in Turkey that I was going to send them. And it cost me almost $6 a book. And I had them inside a box. Problem is that when soon as it comes in and it says USA, they open up the box. They count the stuff that's in there, and they charge you so much for each one of the things in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the killer part is it took, 6 weeks? And it don't take 6 weeks to mail to get anything on this planet. But it does when the government's involved and they're looking in stuff and whatever, you know. But I thought that was crazy. Yeah, you know, like, and these people, they just wanted to, first of all, they were fascinated with the, you know about the cash flow quadrant and how come some people in network to, like, I'm at that stage now, I'm an investor, but I still work for a living. I don't really work for a living. This isn't considered work when I do. At least my granddaughter, my wife's granddaughter, she has a granddaughter who doesn't get what I do. But every time she gets a chance, like, she wanted to sit in on this right here. And I said, look, I paid for your Wednesday's business. I bought your product. I paid for you an auto ship a couple of months in a row because I wanted my wife's great grandkids to not have to worry about tooth decay. So I bought them our toothpaste without fluoride. Make sure she gets that. Make sure that they get cocoa because every day they have to take a nap. That means they need to have something that they can give kids 2 ounces of, and 20 minutes later, kids are asleep. None of this argument, no, I don't want to go to sleep. I'm not tired. No, you give them some of the cocoa, lay them down, you put them in a room that's dark, you press one of these things that shows stars on the ceiling in the room, and 5 minutes later, they're asleep.
Nice.
I mean, and when I showed my wife's granddaughter how I put them to sleep, and she goes, well, you don't even argue with them. I said, I'm 65 years old. I don't argue with nobody. Sure ain't gonna argue with a 2-year-old. That's crazy. He goes, yeah, but you know, they're terrible twos, and one's a 2, and one's 2 going to be 3, 1 is 3 going to be 4 in November. And she said, well, sometimes I just don't know what to do with them. I said, that's because you're 21. Okay, you're 21. First of all, you live in with the father of your children. You're not married to the father of these children. You know, he's not your husband. When you introduce him to people, one of the things you say, this is my boyfriend. First of all, he's 23. He's not a boy. Okay, you're not a girl. When you got 2 kids, you're a woman. Mm-hmm. She goes, yeah, well, what does that got to do with me not having to take the kids to the dentist? I said, because if you have to take them to the dentist, you have no money, which means that me and your grandmother end up having to pay for it. And if I avoid any bills, I did. She goes, well, then you don't have, but since they closed our facility here in Phoenix, but at the level that I'm at, they still send me my products for free. But I've been doing this for 8 years, okay? Uh-huh. The president and founder of our company, and I worked diligently 4 years and didn't care whether I met anybody that was above me or not, because I didn't know anything about premium diamond and all these other kind of things, people that are above me making tens of thousands of dollars. As long as I make my little 10, 12, 15 grand, I'm happy, okay? Those people making, but I messed around 1 month and a bunch of different things came down. I made $30,000 1 month. It was like,
for you. Well,
my remedy was, since my wife was instrumental in me being able to do that, and so much a lot of things bother me, I bought her something called a Mitsubishi Mirage. It was only 15 grand, okay? And it wasn't because she didn't need a new car. She did. She needed another vehicle, and she wanted something that was small. She had a van. She didn't get nothing for mileage on that thing, and also had a light on it that said check engine. And I spent 600 mechanics for them to tell me they didn't know what was causing the light to be on. So why should I pay? Because I was an in-home repairman. If I couldn't fix whatever was wrong, whatever, I didn't get paid.
Right.
But mechanics, just because they look at stuff, they get paid. But in the end, that's why my oldest daughter is a lawyer. So she says, Dad, look, there's nothing in the world like arguing, and you love to argue, and she says, and I love to argue. So might as well get paid for it. But when she told me that, she had just got out of college and she was something called an actuarian, and she was going into a job for Johnson's Publications or something. All I knew is this company was contracted by the big insurance companies to tell them how much to charge people like me and you for insurance on different stuff, your house, your car, whatever, or your life, and something called an actuarian, and they were paying her $120,000 a start. Now that's really great money.
Yeah.
But then again, my oldest daughter, she never see me and her mother struggle, because by the time she came along, we were some of the haves. We weren't the have-nots anymore.
Right.
And I remember her telling me, saying once, how come we have, I remember her saying, coming home one day, she was mad because she's talking about, why come we have so much and my friend Shirley have so little? I said, well, what, that's between God and your friend's parents. She said, yeah, Dad, but his nephew works for you. He's one of those guys that works for you. And it really was his name. Then I realized that I had people working for me. I had no clue about who they were connected to or whatever. And from then on, instead of me like setting up a human resource department, because I had 15 people to work for me, I didn't set up something like that. What I did was I made it my business to go out to eat with each one of those people at least one time a week. Either go out to eat with them, go to their house, eat with them, or have them go to my house and we sit down and eat and just talk. Because one of the things you got to do. Oh wow! Somebody just sent me something. This is a notebook with what? I just found a notebook with healthy coffee in it. There is an ID number of 8199479 in it with my name and Martha's name on it. Oh, this is Ronald Crawford. This is a guy 5 years ago who bought some product from me, and he lived across the street from where I was. I bought a house when I first came out here, but it was one of them kind of deals where it was falling apart or whatever. But I got it for like $500, and I fixed it up, and then I flipped it. Okay, because when you need money, that's the best way to do real estate. It's a great way to make money. And after I flipped it, I didn't have no place to stay for like 2 weeks, and him and his wife invited me to stay with them. And they had a daughter who was autistic, and her name is Megan, and she's a heck of a young lady. And her thing is she wanted to see this basketball player from Arizona Razorbacks or whatever. I forgot it. Steve Nash was his name. And I had met, since he's Mormon, and I had met so many Mormons, I just called him up, see if he understood what I was trying to do. I just wanted this autistic. I think it's autistic. Wait a minute. What is the one where they had the face just messed up? That ain't autistic. Down syndrome. That's what she has. She's autistic. She has Down syndrome. And and he was amicable to it. And he actually showed up at the house. And you should have seen her. She was, oh my God. She's like 20. Let me see. She's probably 30 something now. But she was like 27, and she wasn't supposed to live no longer than 17. Okay. But her parents, her dad did work 2 jobs. Her mom went to school to learn how to teach children like her. Okay. And then they enrolled her in a school like that we have out here. And her mom went to school with her every day. Okay. Now that's talking about, that ain't like this love that I see that mothers have for their children nowadays. I mean, how many mothers would go back to school to learn how to deal with their own child? Most are girls, and they just walk away because it's a lot simpler to just walk away or put them in some kind of state home or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Let me tell him. That's your number. Mm-hmm. That. Your old ID. Oh, come on.
So one of the things that has become really obvious to me in my last almost 11-year situation since I came off of that horse is that wellness encompasses a lot of things. Like there's a lot of different pieces to wellness, and wealth is definitely one of them, because I know I found lots of products that would have helped me, but I didn't have the money to buy them. Or, I knew people that I found products that would help them and they didn't have the money to buy them. So wealth definitely plays into your ability to eat good food, your ability to have good water, everything. I mean, wealth is there to help people, is what it is, if it's used properly.
You know what? I remember after I got the third 5-figure check that I ever received for network marketing, my sister showed up. I have a sister who's a missionary. She's been a missionary for 30 years. And one of the things she reminded me is that I had promised her, and I'd been doing it already for like 20 years, that each month that I would send a check to help those less fortunate than me. Now, when we were growing up, we didn't know we were so poor. We didn't know we were poor because everybody was poor.
Right.
And but she messed around. And she brought 5 African people to my house. Now, I didn't have a mansion or anything, but I had 15 rooms. Okay. I had 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. I didn't think that that was so gregarious for me to have all that. But I remember one of the things that I had to do, I had in the house was a big old scale. And it was, I ain't talking about it was huge. I'm talking about it had a big old platform on it. And it projected the weight on the ceiling. And all 5 of these African people got on the scale and projected 268 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
I got on the scale and I weighed 269 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
Myself. And I wasn't fat. I'm 6'4", okay? I wasn't fat.
Right.
And it blew my mind that 5 people all together only weighed that much. But then they had on clothes. If they'd have been dressed like I see some of these people on the internet undressed, they just have on a shirt and these skinny little bow legs, and the biggest thing on them is their knees and their head. You know, that's the way these people look. And she says, and I remember telling her, I said, look, you know, like I started this new thing, and I told her about it. She goes, wait a minute, you sell ribose tea, red tea from South Africa? I said, yeah. She goes, do you know that the people that are in the diamond mines and the gold mines over there, their egg grows wild over there, and they take a water that tea and put it in their mouth. They do just like the rednecks do, except they don't spit out the juice. They swallow the juice because they have 10, 12, 15 hours a day in those mines, and they don't get to come up for water breaks and stuff like that. Okay, they get a lunch. They come because it takes like half hour to get down into these mines or whatever. And then you have lunch down in the mines, and then you come back out there 12, 14, 15 hours later. I said, so what that tea does for those people? So I need to get some of that before I leave. Remind me to tell you to give me some of that. And I said, give you some. That's $25 a box. And she goes, well, how much do you pay for it? I said, well, I just got started in this business. And I said, well, now I think it's $17. And she goes, well, then I just need 5 or 6 boxes. And I said, okay, you know, like, what? And she goes, what do you mean, what? I ain't giving you no money. I said, what? She said, I ain't giving you no money. Because, see, I want to make sure it's the same kind of tea that I use. Oh, I said, you use it. And she goes, yeah. All right. So I gave her 3 boxes. And a part of a box was open. And in less than 6 months after that, my sister got into my business. But then the company kind of screwed,
Losing your battery? He'll be back. I bet his battery probably ran out. The battery on my phone goes out so quickly. Oh my goodness. I just need a new phone. So we never really got to introduce James. I'll go ahead and do that while he's coming back on. I've been speaking with James Lockett, and he's also known as the Coffee Guy. That's his tagline. And he's been helping people with their wellness with these nutritional products that he sells that have mushrooms in them. And I'll let him announce, what he wants to announce about that. But I've actually had several friends that have been in this company, and I've heard nothing but good results from people, that have used the products. And I've had some people give me some of their products, and it's delicious tasting. Anybody would love to drink it. And I believe they have coffee and tea and cocoa, and I'm not sure what all other products they have, but it's just delicious. You don't even, like, when I drink coffee, I typically put some honey in it to make it sweeter, but you don't even need a sweetener with that coffee. So, and it's made with these mushrooms, like he said, that it's like a 4,000-year-old remedy, and just mushrooms are extremely healthy for you. And these are very special ones. And so I've heard of lots of good testimonials from people who have tried the products. And as I've mentioned before, I'm not in a company like that has nutritional products, but I believe in them because I've had really, really good results with some products in the past. And But like we said, part of the problem is having the money to pay for them, right? So that's one of the reasons why networking, there's so many different networking companies out there, but it is a way for the average person to, be able to do it part-time and make some money until they can replace their regular job, and then you can do it full-time. Or if you're like me and you get thrown off the back of a horse and you have to find something you can do from home, it's a really good option. And there's a lot of companies out there that the products aren't so wonderful, and the comp plans aren't so wonderful, and you can wind up, losing money instead of making it. I know that has certainly happened to me in a few, well, not quite a few, but a few companies. I haven't been in 50 companies or anything like some people have, but I've been in enough to know that not everybody wins in most companies. That's one of the reasons why I love what I do, because everybody wins with what I do. So I can always feel good about sharing it with people. I hope James makes it back on. Let me jump over here to Facebook and see if he's trying to contact me, or see if he's going to be able to make it back. Nope, I don't see him trying to message me. Probably because his battery's dead. It's all right. He'll come back if he can, I'm sure. Some of these products, I really like the ones that are made from natural stuff, like the mushrooms. I think God gave us everything that we need to be completely well. And I think that we have really messed ourselves up with some of our food choices that we've made, some of the ways that we've allowed, like the dairy industry and the meat industry, to the way that we've allowed them to teach us how to eat their product, basically. We were all sort of brainwashed into believing that we had to have dairy products and we had to have meat products to be healthy. And come to find out, that's not true. That was just supporting their industries. So there's different theories on food, and there's plenty of information on the internet. I myself am vegan, but that's a pretty hard line for most people to toe, and I understand that. I was basically told by my gastroenterologist that eating meat increased my chance of bowel cancer by 40%. And this is something that I have to have procedures done every 3 years for. And the minute I heard that, meat came out. And I really wasn't much of a dairy or egg person anyway, so it was not a big stretch for me to jump all the way to vegan. And actually my heart feels really good about that. So, and my body's doing well. I use different foods for proteins. It's amazing. We kind of, the way that most of us have been taught about nutrition, and I have a friend who's a nutritionist. I'm going to ask him to come on here and talk about some things. But the way that we've traditionally been taught is that you have to eat a certain food to provide your body with what's in there, which is true to a point. But if you think about it, you're eating something and then your body is having to digest it and break it down into amino acids, which then they build the proteins. It's not like you just get the proteins straight across. It's still, your body still has to break it down and then make what it needs out of those things. So if you're eating a plant protein, it's easier for your body to break that down than it is for a meat protein. So when you really get down to the energy that it takes for your body to break some of these foods down and absorb them, and then release the toxins that are in them, in a lot of the products these days, your body has to handle the toxin load. So if you really look at what you're putting your body through with the food that you eat, it becomes clear that we've gone down the wrong road. And if you wind up getting diagnosed with a chronic illness, pretty much everything, I know I always refer to Dr. Robert Morse, and I just love him, and he breaks it down so simply. You basically have a kitchen and a bathroom in your body. You have vessels that bring food to cells, and you have little micro vessels, the lymph system that takes the toxins and the waste products away. And when the toilet gets backed up and you start getting all this, your cells are surrounded by their own excrement, for lack of a better term. They're the toxins and just their own waste products, which are acidic. That causes inflammation. Inflammation causes decreased oxygen to the blood, to the cells, and decreased blood flow, obviously. I mean, it's trying to bring blood flow there. Your body's really trying to help you by causing inflammation to bring more blood flow there. But the acidity is really the beginning of pretty much every disease process that we have out there. So if you've been diagnosed with a chronic illness or cancer or rheumatoid arthritis or any of these sorts of really chronic situations, fibromyalgia, all of these, you can see improvements with food choices. I've seen it happen. You need to start a log, a food diary of what you're eating. Let me check over here and make sure James isn't trying to contact me again. Oh, darn. I wish he could get back on. Hopefully he'll make it back on. I've seen it happen. It's difficult sometimes. For me, giving up meat, I was really not a huge meat eater anyway, so it really wasn't hard for me. But for people that are real, they love their meat, it's such a hard thing, or they love their dairy, they love their cheese, or whatnot. It's hard for people to make those changes. But if you find yourself in a state of disease process, you can guarantee that your body is acidic. So you need to make better food choices. You need to, if you have any way of there are machines on the market now where you can alkalinize the water that you drink. If that is an option for you in any way possible, go ahead and get one of those, because drinking that alkalinized water will help the process. Now, one of the things that Dr. Morse teaches, which I've never heard any other doctor teach, but intuitively I know that he is correct on this, and he's a brilliant man, so I'm sure he has the science to back it up. But he teaches, when he's detoxing people, he gets really, really sick, like stage 4 cancer people. He puts them on all fruit, and that's for a major detoxification. And he wants you to get your fluids primarily from the fruit, because he says if you, like most people say, you have to drink twice your ounce weight in water a day. So if you weigh 100 pounds, then you would need to drink 50 ounces of water. So half of your weight in ounces of water. It's true that dehydration can also cause some issues, but what Dr. Morse is doing, the way that he explains it, is that when we drink that much water, it actually forces our kidneys into overdrive, because they're having to remove that much water from the body. And then they can't really remove the toxins from the lymph because they're so busy moving water, if that makes sense. So he actually promotes decreasing the amount of water that you're drinking so that you're actually detoxifying the lymph system. And I think he's brilliant about that. He's a master herbalist. I highly encourage you to look him up on YouTube. His name is Dr. Robert Morse, Morse. He's like an old horse stock. I would love to do he has a naturopathic, well, I don't know if he calls it a naturopathic program. He has a program that teaches like his method of detoxification, the herbs that he uses, the conditions that he has been treating. He treats, over 100,000 people with these sorts of things for years now, and with amazing results. Diet is so important. So I wish James had made it back on. He could have told us more about his mushrooms. Maybe he can join us another day and share some of the stories. I know we mentioned this last week, you have to be careful what you share. I think if people can come on and just say what it's done for them, I think that's legal for them to share that. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to get anybody's company in trouble. So if you have some input on that, let me know. I think if you can just start with one meal a day, one snack a day, even one snack a day. Oh, here he comes. Good, he's coming back on. You're upside down.
You're using the computer audio.
Okay.
Hello.
You're upside down. Your picture's upside down. We could still talk to you upside down. I was just explaining that how important diet is and how it's probably one of the more difficult things for people to change about their lives and their lifestyle. But if you have a chronic illness, you have to do it. You just have to. You can start with one snack a day, replacing that with something healthier, and then just keep working your way up. Replace one meal a week with a healthier meal if that's how you have to do it, Some people can just change right away. Other people have to work their way gradual into it. Anything that you improve upon is better than where you were. So tell us, James, I don't know how you got upside down, but we're going to talk anyway.
Maybe it's the king. I don't know. How about, well, that's my shirt.
Your shirt's still upside down. Well, it's backwards, so it might be right.
Yeah, that's like, is that right? Maybe I got the camera on. Nope, that ain't it either.
Don't you love technology? Actually, I do love technology. It can be there you go. You got it now.
All I got to do is figure out how to get it mounted back on this thing here now. Okay, here. How about that?
When I first got onto the internet, it was just so frustrating learning how to do all this stuff. And sometimes, doing live shows like this, sometimes stuff just goes wrong technology-wise, and you just got to roll with it. It's an amazing platform. I love Zoom. I love to be able to talk to people like this and share ideas and share products and share wonderful, amazing people like James here, because the stuff that he has could help you, and you need to invest in your health. I mean, we all are trying to make money, but you have to invest in your health, because it doesn't matter how much money you have if your health is gone.
Well, yeah, because if you don't have your health, you're going to spend it, whatever wealth you got, trying to get your health back.
That's right. I had a friend that he joined a network marketing company that sold a nutritional product, and he went from bankruptcy to 6 figures in about 18 months. And then he lost every penny of it, paying it to hospitals like Mayo Clinic and places like that, because his health was, health issues. So,
yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I went to, for some reason, people are, you never discount anybody. You always put people in the back burner, because see, some people, as I was taught, someday they'll get a clue. And when they get a clue, just don't be there and burn your bridges so much that they don't want to call and talk to you about it, whatever. But
right.
The other day I was talking with a guy whose neighbor had came over and talked to him, and I talked to his neighbor when I went over to his house one day, and he wasn't there. And his neighbor was having some guys resurface his swimming pool. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, you know, like if I'd have came out here when I was a young man into Arizona, I'd have probably had a business to resurface the swimming pool because just about everybody had one. In fact, we used to have one in our backyard until we covered it up.
Can you turn your camera so I can see you? I can't see you.
Oh. See, how about? I can't hardly see me. Whoa.
There we go. That's better. I can see you now.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's dark in here. Yeah, I think I keep it dark in here because a guy named Dr. Jerry Clark. I don't know if you know about the colors, the business colors of people or whatever, you know, like when you sit and talk with somebody, you can tell whether they're seriously interested or not or whatever by body language and also by the kind of personalities they have. Well, I learned that stuff when I was a kid. Some people sent me to a class, which I thought I was being punished, and it was called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was the only kid in there. Everybody else was not only an adult, they were all white people. And there was this lady behind the counter. It was like a grandma type. You know, she had the silver, blue hair type thing, and she was explaining how on the phone you can be anybody you want to be. I mean, you can project any kind of image that you want. You know, women can sound like men can sound like women. You know, you can sound like you're reserved. You can sound like you're cooled out or whatever. But she said the test of the true mettle of a person was being able to argue your point. And your point being is the fact that you're on that person that you're talking to side in this in this conversation. As long as somebody feels that you have their best interest at heart, they'll listen to you. But as soon as they get the impression that it's all about what they can do for you, their brain, they may sit there and listen to it and nod their head, but they're gone. Their head's gone. Okay, and it's not their fault. It's your fault for not being attentive enough to understand that first of all, it ain't about you. It's about what you can do for somebody else. You know, I remember. This lady who was a really, really nice lady, but that class was like 4 hours for 3 days. And I stayed in a motel. I was like 14 years old at the time. And I stayed in a motel in a city that I didn't know, which was like 50 miles, which was to me 100,000 miles from where I lived. And when it was over with, they just gave us a piece of paper. Now I was 14, 15 years old. Now you have to understand something. One of the things is that I was just this black kid who grew up in government housing. I wasn't somebody who had, like Robert Kiyosaki had a rich dad and a poor dad. I didn't have nothing like that. There was these role models around me, but all of them weren't great. One of them was a guy who fished for a living. His name was Amos Walker. And he taught me that the best way to have stuff was to go out and get it for himself. Okay? Because he had a house. He had like 10 acres of land. He had 5 or 6 different cars. He had ex-wives and not a current wife. Because he said that women didn't understand that he would much rather work and acquire stuff than to just foolishly. Also, he was a gambler, too. He was a gambler. But he taught me, first of all, how to fish with the purpose of feeding myself. And so, over the years, one of the things that I did was I joined fishing clubs, but they would soon disband or they would ask me to leave because I always win. Okay? And see, I was almost always the only black guy. But when it got to the point to where they had a thing called a Big Bass World Championship, this was like the most grandest stage in the Mid-South that there is for fishing, okay? And it was bass fishing. Black people actually don't bass fish. If they do, it's because of the money. But I bass fished because I just enjoyed the fact of fishing, catching something, and not having to take it home and clean it. I could stop by a restaurant and have something to eat because when you can afford to not have to eat what you catch or kill, you can be more compassionate. I had a lot of guns, but I quit hunting. I had guns simply because I could afford to have them, not because I wanted to. I thought there was some kind of race war coming on or whatever, or because I was ate up because I bought a gun simply because I saw one on TV. Rooster Cogburn, he was talking about he driving across this field. He had these Winchesters. He was slinging them and shooting at this guy.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
You ready? Like you put your around. I'm gonna shoot you. And I bought one of those. It was commemorative. Didn't pay $900 for it. And the next day, the guy's son came to me that I bought it from. Came to me, and he had one too. His dad had bought 2 of them. Gave him one. He kept one. But his dad, they kind of fell in kind of hard times. His dad sold me his, but they needed more money. So his son sold me his. And I said, look, anytime you want these guns, you can just come back and give me my money back plus 10%, and you can have them back. And he goes, well, I don't know if I'll ever come up with that kind of money because it's $2,000 that you just handed my family, and that's a lot of money. I said, wait a minute. I gave your dad $900 for his, and you want me to give you $1,100 for yours? And he goes, well, yeah, well, Dad said he got $1,100 for his. I said, well, your dad lied, okay? He left. I had some business I had to attend to about a John Deere tractor that I had just bought, and they had put a new front end on it, and I had to go to John Deere place. I come back. Somebody had broken into my home and stole all of my weapons, right? What the thief did not understand was that I had neighbors. And where I come from, if you have neighbors, they not only know your business, they come over to your house, they do stuff like if they're out of beer, they come over to your house and just get some beer out of the refrigerator and they close on the way out. If they need to go to town and their car ain't got no gas in it, they just come and grab one of my vehicles because I have 5 or 6 vehicles sitting around my property all the time. Then there were the scooters and the big red Honda 4-wheelers and the 3-wheelers that just sit around my property. And so we left keys and stuff all the time. Nobody ever stole anything from me. And that's how come when this happened to me, my guns, it was like 15 guns, almost $20,000 worth of guns, okay? And 2 of them I just got, I hadn't even shot a bullet 1 out of 2 of the guns. Turned out that this kid took the guns. He came back and took all of my guns. What he didn't understand is I had a neighbor lived catty corner from my house, and all this lady, according to her job was to make sure that didn't no mess come down on our street, okay? Because we had kids that run up and down our street, and at least once a week we would take these things that look like sawhorses and we block off the street so the kids could do rollerblading and stuff like that. Because we lived at the foot of a hill, and you put this sawhorse thing on the other side of the hill so the kids could go up the hill and come down the hill on their skateboards and their rollerblades, stuff like that. And we would make a big deal out of it because it was a mixed race neighborhood, okay? And it was really wonderful. And in fact, I come back out of the house scratching my head because somebody had stole my stuff, but they broke the glass in the room where the guns were, and the glass ended up outside. Okay, now, first of all, if you're going to break into something, the glass falls on the inside, right? So that's when I figured, well, somebody just came in the front door, knew where the key was or whatever. And the lady said, her name is Miss Johnny. Miss Johnny said, well, come here, boy. And she's been calling me boy for 50 years because, first of all, she's 90 years old. I ain't going to argue with her. And she said, oh, you must be having hard times. I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, you got rid of all them devilish guns of yours finally. I said, what do you mean I got rid of them? Well, that white boy that was in there that you brought over when you rode with the van, and he just come back and he told it all at my house. How much you get for all them guns? I said, wait a minute. You saw somebody take the gun? She goes, well, yeah. He said, I wrote his license plate number down just in case. And this is a little white lady who had no love for black people at all. But one of the things she had went through something called a leper in Arkansas. She went through something called a leprechaun club. They were like wannabe Ku Klux Klan people. Okay, her husband was in charge of this group of people. They were called the leprechauns, and they were down on Irish, Catholics, blacks, and Jews. Okay, Ku Klux Klan just hated blacks and Jews. Okay, it's a whole other different thing. And she knew that her husband and his group had misused and abused a bunch of black people over the years until he died. But when she moved into town from out in the country, where her and her husband used to live, one of the things she did was she said she went to she went and prayed, and the Lord put it on her heart that the land that they own out in the country, she should give it back to the people that her husband stole it from. Okay? Because they had actually did one in Rose. I don't know if there's a. Wait a minute, you look like you may be part Native American, so you understand what was going on here for the last 200 years, right? What they did was they burned these black people's houses down and rounded black people off. And then when it came time for the tax, they went and paid the tax and got the land. Okay, and she decided that's what she was going to do. When she decided to do that, her heirs decided that no, you're not, because when you die, that's our stuff. And it was 4,000 acres. It wasn't like 40 acres or 400 acres. It was 4,000 acres of land. Okay, and it was like a really big deal there for a while. But it was a thing that looked like to me it was going to cause a rift between her family, because her family, I could hear them watching TV in my den. I could hear her family hollering and screaming to her because she's in her 80s, almost 90 at the time, and about she can't take care of herself, and she must be got feeble-minded, and she's hanging out with these black people way too much, and she's letting little black kids, mixed race kids come up to her house, and have soda pop on her front porch. She let them go in her living room where she has her furniture with plastic on it. It's got furniture with plastic on it, but she let these neighborhood kids come in and have popsicles, and when it's hot, she let them come in the house, and she once a week she made them spaghetti. I mean, the lady she was just a phenomenal lady, and her thing was she was just trying to pay back to the community. and she didn't care for color, but her family did. And it turned out that one of the families that this land was taken away from had become not only involved in the government, one of them was a Western District federal judge. Okay? Yeah. Wrong kind of black person to mess with. Because when he found out about this, he hurried up and set up a trust fund so that he could send lawyers down. And all of a sudden, there was all these black people with suits on in our community that nobody knew. Okay? And these black people had white people that worked for them. They were mostly Jews and Irish people that were from places like East St. Louis, Chicago, Champaign, Illinois, Terre Haute, Indiana. It seemed that their families, when they got run off their property, went all over the place. There's one kid whose grandfather had lost some property, like 40 or whatever, turned out to be he's getting ready to retire federal judge. And he's since then he's retired or whatever. And they got the land back or whatever, and they ended up getting land. It took like 5 or 6 years. And it inspired me to even do something along those same lines, because see, one of the things that I was given, I was married to a lady whose mother didn't like me, father didn't like me, but her aunt loved me. In fact, if I hadn't been married to her, I'd have probably been married to her aunt. Forget about the fact that it was 30 years different. The woman was just the coolest of the cool. I mean, she was into jazz music. She could sing all of those songs that you heard on the radio when I was a kid. Anyway, the bottom line with all of this whole line of conversation is, if one or two things hadn't happened in my life, one of them is I decided that not only did my mother, my grandmother, my sisters, and the grown-ups in my life knew what was best for me, I decided that I knew what was best for me. But when you make a decision like that, as my grandmother said, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. There's a bunch of things you're gonna have to deal with. I had to deal with the fact that I went out and made money, and my mom almost whooped my behind, because she says, what do you mean? If white folks gonna kill you, they find out you're making the same kind of money that they make. I said, Mom, money? I ain't telling nobody nothing. All I was doing was going to the city dump, getting lawnmowers, and me and my friend James Ward, we get lawnmowers, bring them back to our government housing place, the patio of our government housing place, and we take them apart. We take the carburetors down to my friend James Ward's dad's, where he worked at a place called Industrial Equipment. He would rebuild the carburetors, charge me $7.21, okay, which me and James would split, okay. He'd come over a certain amount, I'd come over a certain amount. We'd take the carburetors, put them back on there, put new oil in these motors, and put wheels on these decks or whatever, clean them up, and then we'd rent them to our friends. And whatever you made that day, the black guys gave me half. And they didn't know until after the summer that I was giving half of what they did not have. They would give me half of the money that they made. I was giving half of what I made to my friend James. Well, my black friends, they had a problem with that because he was a white guy. But they didn't know him. After I took him to his house, and they, man, ain't nowhere in the world that, man, they got maggots and stuff, on the windowsill, because they lived in the dump. I mean, there was garbage all over the place, whatever. And they didn't have a problem with that. But that summer, I made $800, so did my friend James. I don't know how much my friends made cutting the grass, but we ended up with 14 lawnmowers. I just knew the next summer we was going to get rich. Well, that fall, when it got time to go back to school, me and James, we was gonna go shopping and buy our own clothes. We told our parents that. My mom was, well, I don't know where y'all gonna get some money. What, you got $30, $40, whatever? And I said, well, I got a few dollars. I'm gonna get some clothes for me. I'm gonna get some clothes for my little brother. And my mom said, okay, fine. Next morning before daylight, my mom wakes me and my little brother, because we sleep in the same bed. She pushes the mattress over, and she finds the $800 that I have. And she's upset, because at that time my mom was making $27.50 a week. And I was making more than that in a day. But I was not doing anything illegal. But I was doing something, according to my mom, which went against the grain of the average black person. Which I didn't get that, because I always knew that you can't hold a good man down. My grandmother would say the cream rises to the top. It always does. I'm the only one in my family of my brothers and sisters that went to college. But I have an older brother who's smarter than me. He should have went to college. I graduated with a 4.0, and my brother would have graduated 4.95 or something, because he overdid everything. First girl he married, he kissed, they've been married 51 years. Okay? If she dies tomorrow, he'll die tomorrow, the next day, because he can think of something and it comes out of her mouth. That's when I knew that I was marrying the wrong kind of women, after I analyzed my brother and his relationship to his wife, because he wasn't good looking, she wasn't good looking. But over the years, both of them looked pretty good. They grew into each other. Both of them made each other look good, okay, whatever. You know, because if the average man doesn't have a woman around to do stuff like make sure that he does stuff like, because if a man if there's no toothpaste in the tube today, he ain't gonna remember to get some toothpaste so he can brush his teeth tomorrow. A woman will. She'll make sure there's toothpaste in there because she got to kiss your face and she don't want your nasty breath. Okay, but men don't think like that. Men think like, well, you know, like, and if a woman forgets, well, it's your job to make sure that, wait a minute, she's working, she's raising family, and she's cleaning the house, and she's cooking. Men only have one job. Do what a woman tell you to do, and you'll get along great. Okay? Works out great for me all the time. I can remember when me and my wife was married for like 3 years, and then somebody asked me, well, what do we argue about? And I said, well, we don't argue about anything. We have no reason to argue with each other. And because what would we argue about? They said, well, you know, like chores and stuff like that. I said, well, no. She cleans the house. I dirtied the house. That's it. That's it. In fact, when I first got with her and she found out I was paying somebody to do what she does at my house, she goes, wait a minute, you're paying two ladies $250 a week to come over and clean up after you? I can do that. And then she moved me out of my house into her house. Because she said, that's a waste of money, which is absolutely true. You know, but that's just being a woman, you know. Now, let's talk about the fact that I lost a wife because of this herb. Because, see, she lost weight. Doctor told her she had to lose weight. Oh, wait a minute. Where are we at here? Ain't enough light or something. Let's see here. Okay, now, what the heck? Where are we at here? Let's see. Is that me? What is that? It's over here. Where's that? Oh. No, it's too high. Okay. This is. They have something better than this. How about this? Damn. I'm getting better at it anyway. Let's see here. You want to say hi to Catherine? That's Catherine.
However you don't spell it. Hi, Catherine.
Well, yeah, she got herself muted.
Okay.
Hi there. Good to meet you.
Hello.
Hello.
Smoothie, I guess, huh?
It's a smoothie.
Now she's in the help too.
Good thing to be into.
Absolutely. Nah, that's a little bit better anyway. Damn, I'm dark. It's dark in here. Oh, I like that. We got a bunch of lights. Anyway, 2 wives before her. 2? Yeah, 2. Because yeah, 2 before her. Doctor told her she had to lose 41 pounds. I had just got involved in this business, and one of the first things I found out was that this herb, one of the byproducts of it, it wasn't a major thing that the company marketed. One of the byproducts of it is that it quelled your appetite. So you didn't eat as much. Since you didn't eat as much, you didn't gain weight. And if you use the cereal in conjunction, we have a spirulina oat cereal. If you use that in conjunction with already healthy eating habits and doing just a little exercise, like walk around the block once a day or something, you could actually not only lose weight, you could maintain the weight without having to go to the gym, pay $25 a month, and exercise and do your cardio and all kinds of stuff that I used to do when I first came out here. Now I solved that problem by just getting on a bicycle and riding around in the neighborhood, which is a lot more fun anyway. And I turned her on to products, but I didn't tell her that she was going to be losing weight. At least that's what she, in the court papers when we divorced, that was what her big thing was. That I didn't tell her that this herb was going to cause her to lose weight. She lost 42 pounds. She was supposed to lose 41, but she lost 42 pounds. And her thing was, after she lost the weight, so she didn't want to do none of the other stuff, she ended up with rolls of skin. Well, her remedy was to go to a doctor and have him make some marks on it or whatever, and then come back with me on a piece of paper and said, okay, now all I have to do is sign this piece of paper, and they would pull $30,000 out of this account that we had. And I said, what? $30,000 for what? And she goes, because they're going to get rid of some of this excess skin. And I said, wait a minute, why don't you do like people who lose that, you know, what they do is they exercise a little bit. And she goes, well, I don't want to exercise. I said, well, yeah, but $30,000. And she goes, well, yeah, it ain't like we don't have it. I said, yeah, but we get to that age, and I was in my 50s at the time. So we get into that age where it took me like 20 years to amass, be able to not have to touch that $30,000. And she goes, well, do you love me? And I went, I love you a lot. And she goes, do you love me $30,000 worth? And I said, no, I don't. And we divorced. We divorced. We're still friends, but she doesn't like the wife that I have now, because the wife that I have now, she does stuff like, but then again, it must be 2 o'clock. It's got to be like 2 o'clock, because that's what time she brings me a smoothie. Whether I'm at, I'm in here, or I'm in the back, or in the backyard, or whatever. The other day, she had to call me from in the hot tub. And he said, it's 112 degrees outside here, and you're in the hot tub. And I said, yeah, and it's 104 degrees in the hot tub. And I feel great. And she goes, it's too hot for me. And I said, yeah, but then again, I ain't trying to get no tan, okay? I don't need none of that, okay? All I need is to stay warm, because I like the feeling of being warm all the way down to my bones. I like the fact that my neighbors come over and they say stuff like, you know, we're glad you live in the neighborhood. Because until I'm in the neighborhood, my wife didn't even know her neighbors, which I can't imagine that, you know. But then again, like I was telling you earlier, when the cactus and palm tree went to her house, that's one of the reasons the neighbors just stole all of their stuff, because they didn't know her and her husband. They had no clue. Now, if somebody pulls in our driveway and we're gone, when I get back, one of the neighbor's kids come over and ask me, do I know this license plate number? or they'll bring me up next door neighbors. One of the kids that went to Walmart got him a camera, them $10 cameras, and it ain't got any, what do you call it? Ain't got any minutes on it, but you can use it to take pictures because it's a phone, right? And he's 6, and they're Mexican, and his mom goes, I'm not going to get it turned on. I'm not going to get it turned on. I said, well, you know, I ain't going to get him a toy. But he grew up coming over to our house. He's only 6 years old now. He's been coming over here since he's like 18 months old, I think. At least that. Wait a minute. No, maybe a little bit older than that. He was like 25 months old. He was walking, but he wasn't walking around with clothes on yet. Because he used to come over here in the mornings in the wintertime with nothing. You know, maybe have on some sandals, maybe. But nothing. I mean, he wouldn't have any shirt, wouldn't have a diaper on, and like that kind of stuff. And at first, you know, I was like, oh, Lord, you know, it's embarrassing or whatever, but he had no shame. You know, in fact, he's like 6 years old, and he still hasn't got any shame. Because one of the things that he's learned, according to his dad, who is my next door neighbor, he's learned what an entrepreneur is. He's only 6 years old. Because one of the things he did was he charged his friends 50 cents a piece to watch him swim in our hot tub just right there. Okay? And he didn't invite him into my yard because he would have had to come through me to do that. But there's a 6-foot cement block wall around my property. And what he did was he took some blocks and put a 2x12, him and his sister put a 2x12 on the other side with some steps so that the kids could walk up the steps and they could lean over the wall and they could watch him swim in the hot tub. He made $18. And the killer part is the mom wanted to whoop his butt. And she said, and when she found out, and I said, well, wait till his father comes home, because his father's an entrepreneur too, and his mother doesn't really speak English, not really. She understands a little bit of it or whatever, but she doesn't really speak. And when her husband came in, my neighbors, he came over and he talked to me, and me and him sitting in the back and had a beer. And he goes, I don't know how to explain to the wife that he's, out of the 5 children that they have, he's the only one, according to him, he thinks going to amount to anything. Because the girls, all they're looking forward to is getting married. Because they're looking for their, what do you call that thing? Quinceañera. They're looking for that. Because they know that their dad was struggling. Because the oldest child is a boy. And thank God for that, because the next girl is only, and he's 16. And the next girl is 14. She gonna, when she gets to be 16, she's going to have a quinceañera. So the oldest boy, and the dad got to come up with the money for the quinceañera. I don't know if you know what the quinceañera is. But I knew until I came, wait a minute. You give them a party because they're 16. What? Well, it's the same thing, I guess, as a coming out party when you're 16. It says, my internet connection is unstable. Okay.
I can hear you. You're doing all right.
Okay, cool. But listen, I'm straight away from this herb, because see, this herb has got some really great, like that lady was telling you about who's suing. I have to go back to Arkansas, the end of August. because this one lady who had one breast removed, and they found cancer in her brain, and they found cancer in her other breast. She was going to, they were going to do originally a radical mastectomy, take them both off. But after her using, and she's not a coffee drinker. She's a tea drinker though. But she's a tea drinker that drinks tea. She likes Long Island tea. She likes any kind of tea drink that we can put alcohol in it. Okay, and that's what she started using, the rooibos tea that I sell, and she mixes it with gin. You know, okay, and she messed around, and they couldn't find the brain cancer that they had found before after 3 months. And my question to her was, what are you going to do? Her question to me was, will you go in court and swear that from the information that you gave me and the results that the doctors at the hospital have now on me, that they took my breast and they didn't have to? I said, well, I can't make a call like that. But my financial advisor says, yeah, that would really look good. And also, there'll be a telephone number that if somebody wanted to find out whether or not what you were peddling wasn't snake oil medicine or whatever, they could call this person and talk to them. Well, I can't catch up with the lady now. Now she right now, she's lost one of her breasts. And when we were growing up, some of the nicest breasts in the world. I mean, they were nice balloon shaped, and she had this really skinny waist. And she was like, I'm really, really dark. She was really, really dark. In fact, my mom said if me and her got married, our kids could disappear in the night. Okay. Okay, whatever. But what I liked about her more than anything else is that she wanted to get busy just as often as I did. And we were just kids, you know. But we didn't get together. She went off and got married to Kansas City, and I ended up marrying a bunch of other people, whatever. And then I got involved in this business, and she came on to visit her mom. And then I found out she wasn't visiting her husband. Actually kicked her out because when she lost her breast, her husband was through with her. And I thought to myself, this is a typical male. Males do this kind of stuff. Women ruin their bodies for us. And then our remedy is, oh, she's my old ball and chain. Or, oh, it doesn't got old. It ain't fresh anymore. They don't realize it ain't fresh for a woman either. Come on, you know.
That's it right there. Yep.
The problem is with that, those guys go out and they cheat on their wives, but don't let the wife cheat on them. They're appalled. They want to kill her, but it's okay for them to do it. I'm a man after all. You know, I'm a breadwinner. Really? Well, I was taught what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay.
That's right.
And I talked to this girl's. Well, her name is Marilyn Criswell. The last name isn't Criswell. She married this guy, but she had a kid with him, and she had already had 2 kids with some boys from back home. We were growing up. Because they got with her, because she lived in the country, and in the country they didn't have TV. We had TV, so they didn't have nothing to do, so they would go play hide and go get it. We didn't get to do a whole lot of that. We lived in town, but the town had 4,000 people, and the country had 10,000 people. So the people live out in the country, they prosper a little bit better than we did. Anyway, she had this breast removed, and then my financial advisor said, well, yeah, you could, and I said, well, yeah, well, how much would that cost me? And they said, well, it ain't gonna cost you anything. In fact, they're gonna pay you as an expert witness. How the hell are they gonna pay me? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a healthcare provider. This is, you can read, can't you? Okay. That Kenneth Crowe guy. And I said, yeah. He says, well, I've talked with him. That's my financial advisor. Told me this like 6 years ago, 7 years ago now. He said, I've talked with him, and the company will actually send information and be able to send a lawyer, because the things that the our federal government, since they're in bed with big pharma, is that they don't want to cure nothing. They don't want to fix nothing. They want to treat stuff, because that's how you make the money in society. You don't fix anything, you treat stuff. And I said, it's okay, fine. Now that clicked along, I guess, because she settled with him out of court like 3 years ago, I guess. Because now she has a place in on the Big Island, and her oldest son, a bunch of the money that she got, he opened up a Mercedes-Benz dealership on the Big Island of Hawaii. Now, from what I understand, it costs a lot of money to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I ended up getting about $10,000 or $12,000, something like that. I think that's what it was. It was such a long time ago, because the people have been, ever since the first time somebody handed me a 5-figure check and it wasn't for working, I've been fascinated with network marketing ever since. I've been fascinated with the fact that that old thing about do something once and get paid for it until the rest of your life, whatever. Well, that's just not true. But you do get paid for it as long as one of the things that a few things stay in place. The company doesn't change the quality of the products. The company doesn't change the compensation plan of the products, or the company stays in business. The company stays in business, keep making quality product, and still have customers. But then, as my grandmother would say, sometimes life happens to people. They say, well, you know, like, I'm going to have to I'm gonna have to skip my auto ship this month. Then I explained to them, look, you should read the fine print, because as far as our company with auto ships, you can skip up to 5 months. And still be active, but you also can still get paid retail sales and what do you call them, bonuses, simply because you have an ID number and your ID and you had your auto ship processed at least once. Well, I've been doing this 8 years, and they process an auto ship every month, so I don't miss out on any money. What I hate is when I have to explain to somebody who's been in the business 2 or 3 years that they just missed $600 because they changed the auto ship from $50 from $100 worth of products, which is 5 boxes or whatever, to 3, and then and then they don't process that 3. When they process that 3, they don't tell the person that they're talking with, because most people don't do their stuff online like I do. I go in my back office and I change all that stuff around because I don't want the same product shipped to me every month. And since I get a bunch of free product, I want to. There's a room in our house. My wife used to call it a pantry until I took it over, and it's got. And I don't stockpile the products, but what I do is I have enough products so if somebody walks in there, hey, look, I want to try the products and I have no money, or I want to try the products and I haven't got but $10. I still give them a box of coffee. Sometimes I give them a box of coffee and give them a ride. Sometimes I actually go pick people up, or worse than that, I drop off a box of coffee to somebody and I know for a fact that I'm not going to not get paid for it. I'm probably never going to see them again. But I look at it like this: I would rather have somebody mistake my kindness for a weakness than for somebody to think that I'm trying to get over on. Because see, I've already made mine, and I get to make mine. And the people that I deal with, they deal with Ron. That's his name. Just popped in my head. Ron. What's Ron's last name? Ron something. Where's my phone? Yeah, because that's what happened a little while ago. My phone battery just went. I mean, what? I'm on the what you call it now? On the
Ron Tarleton is his name.
Tarleton, yeah, that's it. Ron Tarleton. Old dude.
He's not that old.
Well, he's 67, but his attitude is old.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I listen to some of the stuff me and him have talked about. I think to myself, like, I wonder how he ever, I sometimes wonder how the average white guy ever gets married. A woman's got the women that they date just got to love them because they have to make so many concessions to because most white men are boys. They don't get it. Treat somebody like you want to be treated. How hard is that? Don't lie to them because you don't want to lie to you. You're heartbroken when your girlfriend lied to you, but you don't think nothing about lying to her. Well, I went to the titty bar. I didn't do anything. Well, then tell her. But also because she's going to know why you went there when you got all this titty at home. What are you doing? Why you going to even look at something else? And then that's when guys say stuff like, just because I'm on a diet don't mean I can't look at the menu, which is crazy, okay? But that's men. Never been that way.
But they don't want their lady looking at somebody else.
Oh, no. My wife and her daughter went to see the Chippendales, okay? I did a Chippendale thing one summer when I was in college. Good money. Problem is that I wasn't cut out for that. I just wasn't cut out for it because it was entirely too much stuff that entailed that didn't have nothing to do with just dancing for women or rubbing up on women or whatever. There was too much politics involved in it. And also a lot to do with size and stuff like that too. And guys in that crazy realm of that's how they judge each other. And wait a minute, I don't need to be judged by anybody. I thought there was something wrong with me when I was a kid because I wasn't as well endowed as my brother. But then again, my brother, first girl he kissed, he married her. They've been married. Well, I say 51 years because in June 29th it'll be 52 years.
Wow.
Same woman. And killer. And like I say, when I first got involved in this, I got involved in this product simply because I needed it for myself, and I used it. After my family saw what it did for me, okay.
Tell us, what did it do? What did it do for you?
Well, first thing is it got me out of taking 6 different kinds of pills every morning. Okay?
Wow.
Take 6 pills every morning, and at night to get to sleep, I had to take 4 more. Okay, 2 of those was so that I could have a solid stool. All right. The only thing wrong with that solid stool is that I didn't get to walk around to formulate that solid stool. I laid in a bed for 3.5 years. Okay. And when somebody turned me on to this product, within less than a week, I was able to get out of a bed and go to the bathroom by myself and not have to have somebody help me into a chair and then take me to the bathroom and help me out of the chair and onto the stool. I wasn't 70 years old. I was 50 something. Okay. And for a nurse to have to come over and do this it was embarrassing. So my family did it, because especially they did after they found that the insurance company would pay them $50 a day to come over and take care of me. Okay, and the first person I turned on to it was my best friend, who was having some health issues because he was his name was James Ward. He like me had the same kind of problem, in so much as that he had hurt himself and he was bedridden. And I turned him onto the products, and within less than a week, me and him were fishing again, and we hadn't fished in 4 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
when I say fishing, I mean that I took my boat out, he brought a boat. We had a little fishing tournament between each other. But one of the things that we learned, that we figured that we learned to enjoy fishing in competition with each other. Both of us are tall, thin guys. Both of us now have the white beard thing going too. In fact, he's going to do Santa Claus for a church that when I was a kid would have looked at him when he walked in, because he's a white guy. But he's been Santa Claus with a fake beard for 3 years running for this church, but he has to get his stuff all puffed all out because he's tall and thin like I am.
He needs a pillow.
Well, yeah, when we were, when I was a kid, there's nowhere in the world. If a white person came to our church when I was a kid, they wanted something, or they were looking for somebody. And and the church was called Union Missionary Baptist Church. I remember when I was 15, I asked him what the church's mission was. And in fact, the other day I was talking to the secretary of the church and asking her about do they still get the coffee that I have the company send them? Is there always some on in the cabinet? Do they still give free breakfast to people? Well, according to her, they don't give free breakfast. What they do is they go by a donut shop and get donuts on their way to the church every morning, and then they make up they make hot water, and then they give anybody on their way to work. They can stop by the church and you get a cup of coffee and a donut. They don't do breakfast anymore because the lady that did that died. Okay, they got old and died. It's crazy.
Well, James, we've gone about 35 minutes over because you were gone for a little bit. And I wanted to make up for the time, but I want you to let's start closing it up. I want you to tell us, how we can get in contact with you.
Close the phone call. Close the phone call. 480-277-0084. But what I suggest for people to do before even if and we can talk about health, we can talk about wealth, we can talk about a 90-day plan, we can talk about a 1 to 3 year plan, a 3 to 5 year plan. We can also talk about just weight, energy, health issues. We can also talk, what we can't talk about is somebody jumping into business with me and getting to $10,000 a month within the first year. We can't talk about that because I don't know somebody else's work ethic. All I know is mine. Okay. I know that it is possible. I know that there are people who are sponsoring this business that don't need me for nothing, and then I know people that join this business. They call me up a week later and they go, "I don't know what to do. I haven't got my product yet," and I called the company. They said they're gonna be here until like Thursday. Here it is Tuesday, and I done told some people that choir practice Wednesday. I'm gonna bring them some coffee and ask them where they are. And this one lady called me up and said that. She says, "Well, I'm in Tucson." I said, "Well, if the company ain't gonna send you product, you ain't gonna get the product until like Friday, and you're going to a meeting Wednesday, and you want to take some. I can let you have some product." And she goes, "Well, yeah, I'm in Tucson. Where you at?" I said, "I'm in Mason." She goes, "Well, that's like an hour and 45 minutes from here. How am I gonna get there?" I said, "All you have to do is give me directions on how to get to you, dear."
Wow.
He goes, "And what? You gonna bring me some coffee?" I said, "Sure." She goes, "Why would you do that for me? You expecting something from me?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm expecting you to give it away." And then when I get to sit down and talk with her, she was apprehensive because nobody deals with doing network marketing like I do. Because first of all, like you said earlier, you got to be able to afford to live healthy. Because if it was healthy, you couldn't get a $1 burger at Burger King and McDonald's. That ain't healthy.
No.
If it was healthy, it would cost you $3 to $5. Okay. But most people don't get, and like this lady didn't get until she met me face to face, me and her sit down and talk. Because I would much rather, in the long run, give you the impression that you got over on me as compared to me getting over on you. Because see, if I can get some of the product into you and you use the product, it matters to me whether or not you get into the business. It matters to me whether you buy the product. But what matters to me most is that you enjoy what the product does for you, and it does something for you. Because if it doesn't do anything for you, except for the hype, because there's people who go, oh, wow, one lady was going to have an operation, and they were going to get some cyst or something out of her eye, right? And I met her, and that was all she was talking about was this thing. And I said, well, I don't know if this herb will do anything for that or not, but here. And I handed her a box of our, because she said she liked her coffee with cream and sugar. So I handed her a box of our coffee with cream and sugar in it. And a week later, she called me up, and she wants me to have lunch with her. And she don't want me to have lunch with her at like Burger King, McDonald's, or Red Robin. She wants to have lunch at Red Lobster. Cool.
Nice. Let's go.
Well, absolutely. As long as it's on somebody else, I'm all for it, you know. And we get there, and that's the first thing I had. And I said, wow, I really appreciate you inviting me to lunch. And she goes, yeah, sure. You don't seem to understand. Look, I don't have to go to the doctor. Boy, is he pissed. And he's really pissed off at you. And I said, really? He pissed off at me? What did I do? She said, well, the only thing I did different is I've been drinking that coffee. And she says, and say I'm down to the last 2 packets right now. I said, wait a minute, it's been a week. There's 20 of them in the box. And she goes, well, yeah, I just have a cup of coffee whenever I feel like it. I said, oh, okay. She says, now how can I fix it so I can always have some? I said, you fill out a form, and I'll submit it to the company, or I call the company up and you can give them a debit card number, and the day that you want them to start shipping you the product, and they'll start shipping it to you. Mm-hmm. And she says, well, I got to go through some company. I got to give. I said, you don't have to. You can go to the internet. She goes, well, I'll still be going to a company. She says, how come I can't deal with you? I said, because can you afford to deal with me? She says, I can afford to pay for your lunch here at Red Lobster. I said, really? Are we going to get those butter biscuits? They got these really cool butter biscuits. They got little pieces of butter and cheese and ooh. And she goes, well, yeah. But this lady now, she pays me $50 for a box of coffee. Okay. And every once in a while she'll come by here. In fact, one day she came by here and I wasn't here. And the wife gave her a box. And she sat out in front of our house for like an hour. And my wife my wife doesn't, she's not like that. My wife doesn't watch what's going on around her. She's a typical Caucasian person. She's in the house here. She's doing some stuff. She don't even look outside to see if you know, the weather's bad or whatever. Or if it's hot, because she just assumes it's hot. And I get a phone call, and I'm in Phoenix, and it's my neighbor down the street who's a policeman, who's a sheriff deputy for Maricopa County, this is the most notoriously crooked county in the state of Arizona. And we have this guy named Joe Aparo, he's not only a crooked sheriff, he's crooked to the extent where he wrote a book about being crooked.
Oh my goodness.
They still keep reelecting this guy. I don't get it, okay? I really don't get that part of it. But then again, he's a Mormon. Okay, so they can do whatever they want to do in the Great Southwest. And this guy calls me and he tells me that there's a car been sitting out in front of our house. And he wanted to know whether or not was it a friend of my wife's, or was it somebody waiting on me or whatever. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, one of the neighbor's kids came down here and the car been sitting there, you know, and they went by there and asked them what they were doing. And they told them, whoever it was, told them to get away from their car. And I said, okay. And he goes, and it's a really nice car. And I said, really, what kind is it? He goes, I'm not sure. Said, wait a minute. You don't know what kind of car it is? It turned out to be something called an Infinity, which is a really nice car. And so I said, well, you're a policeman. You can roll up on her and ask her what she's doing there, whatever. You know, like she might be going to do some damage or something to somebody or whoever these people are. And when he gets there, he's talking to me on his thing on his shoulder at the microphone. Uh-huh. And he's talking to his dispatcher, which is in Phoenix. But I'm in Phoenix too. And this dispatcher asks him, what kind of call is this? And they have a number for investigative calls like that. And then the dispatcher wanted to know who was he talking to besides her. And he told him me and wanted to know, well, why? And then he explained to him that I was his neighbor. And one day I just walked up to his house when I first moved here and knocked on his door and go, how you doing? How you people doing? And do you eat barbecue? One of the first things I did was I got me a connection for meat out here. And that's one of the reasons I can't go vegetarian or vegan. I have a freezer that's all it has in it. It's just meat. It's got ribs and pork, and it's got steaks. And this one butcher guy, he cuts me 1-inch T-bone steaks. And ooh, and I 2 whole shells full of just Kobe steaks. I love Kobe steaks. Ooh, it just melts in your mouth. But then again, I know you don't eat meat. You gave that up, you know, because I read about the change of lifestyle that you have to do if you're going to get away from disease and keep putting. And if I think about it, there's a bunch of stuff I shouldn't do. I shouldn't eat meat. Shouldn't eat red meat. I shouldn't drink milk. Milk is actually, cow's milk, it should be for a calf. It shouldn't be for a person anyway. I shouldn't. I should eat more leafy vegetables. My way of dealing with that is I love greens. So I eat a lot of collard greens, mustard greens, and turnip greens. But I don't. Growing up, I had to eat turnips, so I don't eat turnips anymore. I like beans, greens, and peas. So, but I don't like all of them. I like a pea called a Crowder pea, which are hard to get out here. But in Arkansas, everybody's got some in the garden. Well, for me to get some, I got to get on the phone, call up one of my relatives, call one of my people that I consider my friend, and put $20 or $30 or $50, whatever, in their PayPal account, and then they send me something. They send me some crappie fillets, or they'll send me some Crowder peas, or one of my cousins sent me he pulled out some English peas. Ain't nothing real like fresh English peas in February.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
That was the deal. Me and my wife, we for Valentine's Day, I didn't take her out or whatever. I bought her a box of chocolate. I fried her up some crappie fillets that had been caught less than a week before that. We had champagne. We had chocolate covered strawberries. One of my downline guys sent me one of these fruit bouquet things, because he says and I really love that when people do that. When people say, like, if it wasn't for you, I couldn't do this. Really? It ain't because of me. I run my mouth all the time. That all you got to do is listen to me. I just talk all the time. But when somebody say to me, like, if you hadn't got my attention, if you hadn't did this, you hadn't showed me that or whatever. Like, I have a whole section over here of just Robert Kiyosaki books. Mm-hmm. There's 75 titles, okay, but they're books like, Who Took My Money? Most people haven't read that book. But then again, when I find that there was so many Rich Man, Poor Man series, books in the series, whenever I run across them, I just get them. But I have an advantage. I can get them at discount stores. I go to Goodwill. I go to Savers. I go to these stores where every few weeks they have 50% off. And I got turned on to that by homeless people. Because when I first came out here, one of the first things I did was hang out with Mormons, but I hung out with homeless people because I went to the library a lot. And that's where homeless people hang out in the desert. They hang out in the library because that's where it's cool. But they had never heard of Jim Rome, Zig Ziglar, Danny Johnson, or network marketing. And they didn't understand. Well, the only thing they knew about network marketing was maybe they heard of Amway, okay? Or they went to a Tupperware party once. Or like out here right now, they got these ladies that have a personal, they have all these panties and all the other kind of stuff that they come to your home and do or whatever. And that may be a good business. But any kind of business that I can't talk to somebody on the street in the light of day about, I don't want to get involved in. I mean, seriously, like I had to talk with a guy the other day about his erectile dysfunction. I said, we have a capsule for that. And but we were in a mall and we were standing there and he stopped me because I wear clothes like this shirt says James Healthy Coffee Guy. On the back it says, ask me about healthy coffee. So people just walk up to me and start talking to me. What's this healthy coffee? I drink coffee, but now nobody told me it was healthy. I said, really? Have you tried this herb? It's 4,000 years old. Really? What kind of herb is that? What's the name of it? It's Ganoderma lucidium. Really? Never heard of it. You ever heard of reishi? No. Wait a minute. I was in the Vietnamese restaurant and they had some of that stuff and it was like $9 for a box of that stuff. I'm going to have to get me some next time. Oh, really? Well, it ain't the same thing. Because there's like 238 different varieties of this herb. And the founder of our company, a guy named Dr. Liao Soon Singh, he spent 20 years, in fact, 26 years, figuring out a way to mass produce this very rare herb that was only found in this rainforest. His remedy and he had an ulterior motive. His mother and father both had health issues. His father had diabetes. His mom had MS. And he wanted to solve their issue. That's why he went to school. But before he could get out of school, his dad died. Okay. And before he could finish doing the research on it and narrowing it down from those 238 kinds to the 6 most potent varieties of this herb, his mom got really, really sick. And then before he put it into production, he gave his mom mega doses of this stuff. And now this was 2002. And his mom was supposed to die in 2003. Well, she's still alive now. He's in his 70s and his mom's in her 90s. Okay.
Bravo. Well done.
One of the things he says is, look, like after he decided he was going to have to take his family's health into his own hands and not trust. And see, he's not from the United States. He's from Malaysia. And that's where his factory is. In fact, the second tallest buildings on the planet are owned by our company. There are two buildings that they have this big old glass walkway between the two of them in Malaysia, which is downtown Kuala Lumpur. And the second year I was involved in this company, I won a trip there to go to our manufacturing facility. And I'm a Vietnam vet, and I didn't even want to go get on an airplane and go no place. But I went there simply because I wanted to see, and I got a chance to listen to him talk, but I didn't get a chance to sit down and talk with him. It took me 4 more years to sit down, get a chance to sit down and talk with him. And I had to be invited to something called a VIP dinner. And it wasn't because I was one of the few 5-figure earners. It was I was one of the few people that has been with this company through two different entities that tried to take our company over. And each one of them was unsuccessful. They hurt my downline crazy like, but what they didn't understand was that I continue to add people to my organization because, see, for me, like in Ron's case, Ron Tarleton, you're right. There are people who just can't, they say, well, I just can't sell. Well, I can't get anybody around me to buy none of this mess. Really? Well, then what you need to do is give it away. Because if you give it away, because one of the guys I sponsor is a CPA, and he explained to me that in fact, he got in our business, and he sponsors people at the $1,000 level. This is what he tells them to do. He does their taxes for them, charges them $125 for that, no matter how complicated they are, whatever business is, whatever, $125. But then they got to put down $1,000 to get into our business. But he says, when you get the products, give them away. And if you have a business, leave them where your employees can use them, because you get to write off at least twice that when you do your taxes the next year. That's if you don't go out and try to sell it. But if you just give it away, you can write it off. And that's one of the reasons that I really hate. I had to, not too long ago, I had to attend his funeral. His name is Trevor Griffiths. I've been posting about him today and yesterday. But he has a blog put together, and it's like 75 videos. Some kind of way, him and a guy named John Wilkins out of Missouri, they figured out a way to put up a blog and put links, put a screen-like thing where they could have about 75 different videos, not just videos about this herb. And there's one video that I was turned on to when I first got involved called Myth or Reality, where it explains why somebody should be using this herb and where it comes from, and why we really shouldn't be mad at Orientals simply because they have found basically a way to slow the aging process. We should be thankful that they turn us on to it, which is, as far as I'm concerned, great, you know. But I'm thinking about up into the 50s, according to some of the research I found, 85% of the people that took something for something that went wrong with them, it wasn't medicine. They were herbal remedies of one kind or another. Okay? There's a guy named Dr. Cornish who wrote a book in, it's either 1926 or I think it was 1826, on, there's a word for being fat, but it ain't fat, that they used to call, and he was all about getting rid of it, getting rid of people, getting rid of the fat. Because, see, I was taught as a kid that the wealthier you are, the fatter you are. Because, you know, but I come out here, and the first thing I notice is the wealthier people, more wealthy people that I run into are the people who ride a bicycle, they jog. I know some 80 and 90-year-old guys that jog every day, okay? My friend, his name is James. I joined a group of guys named James, Jimmy, or James, Jimmy, and something else. Jimbo. And it's 12 of us guys, either named James, Jimmy, or Jimbo. And we all get together once a month, and we all have electric wheelchairs. And we have a race along a man-made lake that they have not too far from here. And one guy, we let him win every month because he owns three big fat Greek restaurants. Because after we had a race, we got to go eat. And you always bring home 3 days most worth of food, more than you can, because they give you these platters in this for cost of $35. So I guess $35 a lot of money for some food, but not really. They give you a platter with all this Greek food on it, and a bunch of it is meat. And man, you bring that stuff home. In fact, I think me and the wife, we took one of her relatives who has a problem with black people, according to what he sent her a letter, told her not to show it to me, which is kind of crazy. Why would somebody say something like that? Do something and say, don't tell your husband. We tell each other everything. Yeah. In fact, according to, like my wife says, even if somebody told me not to tell her something, I would eventually tell her, because I tell her everything. Well, that way I don't have to remember nothing. So
yeah.
I know that if you and another thing men don't get, omission to a woman is the same thing as a lie. If you don't tell them something, it's a lie. Men don't get that part because men will go, well, I didn't think it was important or it was relevant. Really? You don't think it was relevant? This is the person that you spend your life with. This is the person that can be awake when you're asleep. They could kill you in your sleep, and you don't think everything. You know, this is a woman. This is a person who ruins their body to give you offspring, and then you complain about the fact that she got cellulite cheeks or whatever. But you don't think that you should tell her, well, man, I never looked at it like that. Well, believe it or not, if you put yourself in another person's shoes, it's a lot easier to figure stuff out. If you don't want to be lied to, don't lie to a woman. Simple. If you don't want to be lied to, don't lie to anybody. Okay? And never ask a woman to lie for you. Oh God, that's the worst thing you can do. Because then she's going to realize that, wait a minute, how many times he done lied to me?
That's true.
And that's like I told you earlier. I don't even understand how. In fact, I got a chance to go sit and talk with Tommy Chong. When I was a kid, he was the shit. Okay, he was one of the reasons I quit smoking weed years ago because I thought, wow, I don't want to end up out of brain like this. Cause it never dawned on me that this guy it's a persona of his. Mm-hmm. But he does smoke weed because see, out here in Arizona, if you have a card, it costs like $300. Yeah. You can get weed.
Yeah, I have a card myself. I live in Colorado. I use it for nerve pain.
My wife has a card, and she uses her. I don't even know what she uses it for. Every once in a while, I walk to her room and just stand there because she doesn't smoke it. She eats it. Mm-hmm. She's into the edibles and she's into the what is that? Gummy worm things, whatever. Mm-hmm. In fact, she gave me two of them. Gave me a gummy worm, but she didn't cut it up in like 3 pieces.
Oh no!
Yeah, I chewed that sucker up, and I nodded in and out for the next day and a half.
I bet you did.
I was pissed off because I had things I was supposed to do. One of them was I was supposed to go get with a lady named Day Lily. This lady is a beautiful, spirited lady. Her problem is that she thinks that society is she's like a throwback to the 60s because she's a hippie. Problem is that she was given some medicine by her doctor, and it was something about it messed up her ovaries to the extent to where they had to go in and pull her ovaries out. And then they told her that they had made a mistake. You don't write down on paper if you're a doctor or a hospital that you made a mistake. Okay, and think that nothing's going to happen. Nothing did happen until Day Lily met me. I said, wait a minute, these people admitted that they're the reason that you can't have any more children. They're the reason that your husband left you. They're the reason that she lives in a dumpity dump place. She lives in the middle of a ghetto in Phoenix that's ridiculous. And in fact, if she wasn't right now demonstrating, because she's demonstrating today in the hot ass sun with a bunch of Mexicans and some black people for Black Lives Matter in Phoenix at the state capitol, and she's not black. Who is that? Oh, okay. Okay, I wonder, dude.
Got a job.
You got a job?
A Jack in the Box, yeah.
Jack in the Box.
It's a crappy job, but it's the only job where Gable can work and I can work without it overlapping.
Oh, okay. So if it overlapped, that means we'd get to watch the kids more, huh?
Sometimes you probably will.
Oh, we still gonna get to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
He gets off at 3:30. I have to go in at 4. Like he won't get home, so I have to watch them for that hour.
Oh yeah, okay, fine.
Okay,
that'll work.
Right.
That'll work. Hey, look, we get to be babysitters for great grandbabies. So,
yay!
That Rosemary, what is she doing in there?
Yeah, she's looking for shorts for me.
Well,
for me.
Okay, all right. Now, let me see. Sum all this stuff up. 4,000-year history. Anybody want to try the product? Give me a phone call, 480-277-0084.
Okay, wait. 480-287?
277.
277.
0084.
Okay.
All I need is for somebody to cover the shipping and handling, and they can get some sample packs. I used to charge $25 for sample packs, but now I charge $10 because that's how much product is in it. And I end up eating the shipping. But 8 out of 15 people that I send sample packs to become they become customers first, and then later on they become affiliates. Because what happens is this: they change just enough so that their friends around them are going, "Well, what are you doing different?" You know, and they go, well, "Nothing. I'm using this herb." And they go, "Really? I want to find out more about it." Then they get on the phone and call me and say, "You got any literature on this stuff?" And they go, "Well, yeah. How about right now? I send you a download where you can either send it, you can print it out, You can send it to take it to like Office Max, whatever, and they'll print it out for you. It's like 57 pages, and it's all scientific stuff. It talks about what you would hand a doctor or a nurse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I give them a link to go to YouTube and watch a video called Myth or Reality, where it explains why the Orientals, it took them so long before they turned us on to the earth, because they've been pissed off at us for almost 200 years. Okay, a guy named Admiral Perry went into the sea of across the Sea of Japan. He did his thing into China, and first thing he did was he shot a cannon off at these Orientals. They had never seen a cannon before, because they were riding or whatever. But it was typical. It was like one of those deals where the English had a trading company, and it was run by a bunch of rich Englishmen, and they were all over the world. There's something Dutch something company. All I know is that they basically controlled commerce after. Wait a minute. Are you old enough to remember when they used to say that in school they taught us that the sun never sets on the British Empire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, these guys was one of the reasons of that, because wherever the English went and they took over whatever, whether it's India, Pakistan, Africa, whatever, they would subjugate the people, but they didn't do some of the stuff that the Americans did to some of the people that they brought in here, like the blacks and the Native Americans, that they went through a genocide thing. I still don't, I'm so glad I'm not Caucasian. God, I don't think I could handle it. I really don't think, and I can understand how someone pissed off with Donald Trump. What they don't understand is that they done got the script flipped on them, and they just don't get it. They just don't get it. But when I gave up believing that things were going to just work out, because in the black church, there's all these neat songs that's all about holding on until the white men get a clue. Well, I have a problem with that. What do you mean, hold on? Well, we should have a clue. I had to get a clue, okay? I had to learn that we're all the same, because bottom line is I need some blood. I don't care where it's coming from. And the most racist person in the world, if they need a blood transfusion, the only person who can give them the blood is somebody of color, they're going to take it. And if they don't, then they're supposed to die, okay? Because see, that's just crazy. And when it comes to this, like this, with this herb and some of the stuff that it's done, insofar as like this one guy who was a diabetic, and the doctor told him not to take the product. Same thing the doctor told my brother. My brother told my brother not to take the product. Now my brother, he's got all kind of health issues. Him and his wife both. There's at least 700 videos that you can go to and just type in Ganoderma. Not Gano we sell, Ganoderma. Because when I got involved with this company, there was two companies that were marketing this herb. Both of them were coming out of the same manufacturing from the same part of the world. It seems that a guy who was the assistant to the founder of our company, he wanted to take the company public long before the founder did. He just, because he saw some results, he goes, hey, look, so he found a bunch of rich Chinese people, and see, they're Malaysian. And see, as far as the cultures go, Malaysians are like first cousins to all those eases. Like Chinese, Japanese, Filipinese. Yeah. Okay. When somebody explained to me a Filipino, is he Filipino? I think he was from the island of Bali, but he explained it to me because when I was telling you about, I got a chance to go to our facility that we have, and it's in a rainforest. And for 100 square miles, they don't have gasoline vehicles, because gasoline vehicles would ruin the environment. Okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. We have gasoline vehicles everywhere in the States. That's like my environment is so screwed all up, I remember when the most beautiful sites in the world, you're in Colorado. There is a place called, is Colorado where the Grand Tetons are?
Rocky Mountains are here.
Rocky Mountain. There's some place me and some friends of mine were riding through. We rode across the top of the United States on motorcycles one year. And we stopped someplace in Colorado. Well, we were going to spend the night. We ended up spending a week because it was just we parked our motorcycles on this like precipice, and you could see for a couple of 100 miles. It was just fucking beautiful. Excuse my language. Beautiful, just beautiful. It's like a picture postcard. In fact, we took a bunch of pictures, and I remember the local law asked us because it was blacks and whites, and it was. Both of the women that were with us was with none of us guys, but they were women who worked for me. Both of them were plumbers. And this one police officer just couldn't believe that that these women who was each riding their own Harleys. Well, no, they weren't driving the Harleys. Yeah, one of them was riding a Harley Sportster, another one was riding something called a Suzuki 1100E, which ain't nothing but a crotch rocket. But this girl, she bought it because I was the first person to ever give her a job. She was a plumber's assistant, and she was the second woman that I'd ever met who didn't mind crawling up under a house that had a busted sewer line and fixing it without being freaked all out or whatever. But her boss, which was the lady who I had hired originally, had been a plumber for 40 years when I hired her. And I hired her because her husband took her truck, took her business, took her kids, and then had to fix it so she couldn't even see her kids because she messed around and cheated on her husband. But then again, her husband treated her like crap. And the guy, she ended up cheating on her husband when she ended up marrying him. But he didn't want his kid to have anything to do with this guy or whatever. And put her in a bad situation. And it was kind of messed up because most people, she wasn't pretty. She wasn't cute. She didn't have long, beautiful hair like you have, whatever. She had short hair. She had triple chin. She didn't have a double chin. She had triple chin. But she looked like the average repairman. When she bent over, you see the crack of her butt because she wore T-shirts all the time. And her breasts were so big they stuck out under her arms. I mean, it was just like really. But she was a great plumber. And see, it ain't about what somebody looks like. It actually isn't. Because in the dark, none of that's just irrelevant. All that stuff does not matter. What matters more so than anything is that you know what you're doing. And she knew what she was doing. But this policeman, I think it was like a state trooper. I think he took a liking to this younger girl. This young girl, I guess when she cleaned up, she looked kind of nice with her. But she never cleaned up. In fact, she was the first person that I ever met, and I didn't know at the time that she was something called bisexual. I didn't know, where I come from, it was always he and she, and it was never he and she. It was always he and she. And I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it even because after she explained it to me, I went, you'd much rather be with a woman than a guy. And she goes, not necessarily. But I enjoy the softness of a woman as compared to a man. But every once in a while I want a man. Well, okay. Because some of the guys in the shop would hit on her or whatever. And everybody that worked for me was either marriage or in relationships, except for this one white guy who couldn't seem to couldn't stay in a relationship. I told him it was because he lied all the time. He'd tell girls, he's getting off at 5. And I told him, you never tell somebody when you're getting off work and you're working for me, especially when you're riding with me, because we may not even finish the job that we're working on until 6 or 7 o'clock. Then we got a 100-mile drive back to the house, and we may have to stop before then or whatever. Well, yeah, man, I'm never going to be able to have a girlfriend and have kids. So look, man, you're staying in your parents' garage, okay? According to him, you quit school when you were 17. And you quit school at 17 because you was in the 10th grade at 17. That means he wasn't that bright. But he was good at taking orders. Problem is, you can only give him orders one at a time. Couldn't give him 3 things to do. That wouldn't work for him. That just did not compute. But he was another one of those people that I got a chance to turn on to his herb. And what he done for him more than anything else is that he had, and since he didn't have a lot of girlfriends or whatever, he was always having skin issues. He started using our soap and our tea, and I think the soap and our tea and the cordyceps. Now, cordyceps is for those women who want to get, crow's feet around your eyes, whatever. Well, this cordyceps stuff we have. And I don't sell a lot of that because, first of all, it's like $60 for a box of it. That's my cost. And you only get 15 packets in it. But it works. It's kind of like that stuff that they advertise on TV. And I've seen on videos where somebody puts this stuff in these people's eyes, and 2 or 3 minutes later it's then puffed it out or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, our product does the same thing. Only does it from the inside. It not just do it around you. It doesn't just do your crow's eye, but if you got a bumpy skin, if you got bad skin, it works with that. But then again, there's a lady here in Arizona who takes our black coffee, mixes it with our toothpaste, and she puts it on every night as a night cream. And her before and after pictures are ridiculous because she had a big old scar on one side of her face. She had blotches on the other side of her face. Now she's a beautiful 40-something-year-old woman who, in fact, her husband she's Mexican, and her husband, they're protective of their women anyhow. But now wherever she goes, and every time she comes to speak and we invite her to different things, whatever, he shows up and he looks so pathetic because she's a beautiful, vibrant, outgoing woman, and they've got 9 kids. And you look at her, you could never tell that she had 9 kids. because and it ain't that she takes care of herself that great, because she's got, when I first met her, she was doing this thing with her face, but she was also working on something called a cupcake, which is this thing that some women have around, Spanish women have around the middle, because when I understand they eat too much corn, and it ends up as a layer of fat around their middles or whatever. And she was able to get rid of that. But she got rid of that simply because she was, and this was her doing tea, and then taking our toothpaste and mixing it with our black coffee and mixing it up and putting it on her face as a night cream, and pulling out all of the impurities. Plus, because the herb, and my ex-wife, the one that lost the 41 pounds, that was one of the things she was pissed off about. She had a surgery where they cut from under her left breast all the way down across her stomach, and she had a big old scar. In fact, when we first got together, that was her big thing. She didn't want to be seen naked because she had this big old scar. And 9 months after using the soap on her body, you couldn't even tell where the scar started or where it stopped. I mean, it was just there. It looked like she might have had a child once or something like that, and she did have a child.
Nice.
But I thought to myself, like, there's no reason in the world this product should not be in everybody's kitchen. And all I want, since there's 500 million cups of coffee served every day here in North America, all I want for me and my team is 1% of that. I've got like 1/100% of that right now. I'm working. That's why I keep working on it every day. But I tell people, say, look, put $10 in my PayPal account. Let me send you some of this product. Oh, I have to trust you. I tell you what. How about if I send it to you and trust you? Okay, that's fine. One thing wrong with that is you don't want me to show up and beat you up for $10, do you? Okay. In fact, one guy in Terre Haute, Indiana, he had me do it 3 times, and he thought, he says he was a guy who pushed carts in the parking lot of a Walmart, that I wouldn't show up. And I had never been to Terre Haute, Indiana, but I thought after the 3rd time, and I sent him product twice, and then one of my downline person who he gave the impression that he wanted to buy some product. Okay. And she had the company, she used her reward points, had the company send him a box of coffee. And he didn't even have the courtesy of saying thank you. He said that the postman never delivered it. The only thing wrong with that is all you have to do is make a phone call, and the post office keeps up with stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he was one of those people who thought, like, he goes, why would he lie like that? I don't understand, And see, this just happened like 7 or 8 months ago, because this lady equated it with those people that are following Trump. And I said, look, don't let business and politics get together, because see, and she goes, well, yeah, but he's a businessman and he's getting into politics. I said, but you don't. Well, he's got to be an asshole like Trump. Whether Trump's an asshole or not, I done sold a lot of his stuff. I never bought any of his stuff. Or, yeah, I did. I bought his books or whatever. Like him and the Robert Kiyosaki got together and wrote a book, Why We Want You to Be Rich. Okay? I bought that book because my financial advisor guy told me that I should have that book, and he had the book. He handed me his copy. I read the book, and when I handed him his copy back, he said, I ordered you one. And I said, gee, thanks. He goes, oh, you're paying for it. But see, my financial advisor, I talk to him once a month. He charges me $450, which is good, because my daughter, who's a lawyer, she's my financial planner. She goes through my stuff once a month, but she charges me $450 an hour, and she does a minimum of 4 hours.
There you go.
According to her, when she's another person, she just dead, Aunt Betty, the one that's a missionary, she dropped 200 and some pounds using this product.
Wow.
But then again, she got pissed off at the company because somebody sent her auto ship to the 3 other places where she used to live. And each time that they put it back in the mail, it became more and more to ship it. When it got to her, it was $50-something worth for that was owed on the shipping.
Wow.
$34, okay? She called me, she put on pay for it, called me up, and she explained to me that I was some kind of rotten sons of blankety blank and all the other kind of stuff. Because this company, I said, well, if the company did it, why are you telling me? He says, well, all I know is that the boy who I talked to named Roscoe, and I went, oh, wow, I had dealing with this Roscoe guy. I said, I live in Arizona, and our fulfillment facility is in Irwindale, California, which is 8 hours from my house. So I went over there one day, and I'm almost certain that this kid wasn't expecting to see me, because before the conversation's over, he was fired, okay? But he was fired by his supervisor, right? Because this was like the 4th time in a month that he had screwed up like that. And you can't screw up like that in network marketing. Maybe you can do that in regular retail sales, But in network marketing, too many people are getting paid for you to mess with their money like that. Because see, some people take offense at the fact that you don't care enough to make sure that this stuff is where it's supposed to be or whatever. And he kept giving my sister what my sister considered lame excuses. That's because my sister called me and she goes, "Well, I know he's a white boy, and I know that if I have to come out to California, you're gonna have to come and get me, post bond for me." Well, in my family, when somebody says that, I have a sister who's older than her, who just got off probation, who's 73. I called her a bitch, and she cut him 88 stitches to put him back together.
Ooh.
She was 71 at the time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But see, I come from a bunch of, back long before they came up with all these neat terms, like original gangster, whatever. My sisters and them were gangsters, okay? They were original gangsters because, see, I remember some guy called one of them a bitch at school one day, and he thought since he got on the school bus, he was going to get away. My sisters and her crew, they turned the bus over. That was their remedy.
Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the South, and it was the dirty South at the time. And this was also before they integrated the schools, because after they integrated schools, my sisters and them have never went to schools where they had to sit across from white people. But they've always worked in situations where there was white people around them. I've always dealt with situations in school where I didn't rise up to the level of everybody around me. What I did was I make them come to the level that wherever I was at, because I didn't know what level they were at. Because after I found out that some people's parents were giving them something called an allowance on top of paying for their schools and buying them a car and giving them an apartment, and here I was hitchhiking to school, living wherever I could, letting girls take me home just so I have a nice warm place to sleep, having sex with women that I really wouldn't have had sex with if they weren't going to give me a nice place to sleep, or this thing, eating out of dumpsters, or walking out of, ordering something in a restaurant, and then getting up, go to the bathroom, and climbing out the bathroom window. I don't know how many times I did that. That's how come now I keep, whatever my wallet is, I keep a $20 bill in there. Every day I go out and find a homeless person. In fact, that's what I'm going to do when I get finished talking with you. I'm going to find a homeless person. I'm going to take them and have something to eat. I used to take them to places like Country Buffet, Ryan's Restaurant, but I done got asked to leave those kind of places. And it reminded me of those times when I was learning how to do plumbing or carpentry. I was working with a white guy, and we'd stop at like a Colonel Sanders or something like that, where they had a place where you sit down inside, and I'd have to either wait outside or go around to the back, and they feed me out of the back door or whatever. And I think to myself, this is demeaning. But for somebody to tell me, well, no, we don't serve their kind. And I go, what? What do you mean? I'm their kind. You're their kind, fool.
Yeah.
We are our brother's keeper. We really actually are. Problem is that we're taught, we know that, but we're taught to follow these set of rules. Okay? But if a rule is wrong, it needs to be changed. I don't want to talk politics with you, but me and some friends of mine, we're getting ready to go to Washington. If the shit don't come down right with Bernie, we're going to Washington. And I haven't been active in politics since Jimmy Carter. Me and some friends of mine got together just to see if we could do it. We helped Obama raise $100 million in September of the year he was running. Well, yeah, but it was it was kind of stuff we're doing right now. Somebody recorded like you're recording. We were just discussing the fact that, first of all, his name was Barack Hussein Obama. Now, we were looking for some guy named Saddam Hussein at the time. Okay, and I'm a black man. Okay. I sit down and talk with Muslims. I sit down and talk with the Black Panthers. I remember almost getting killed behind they busted up a Black Panther meeting. I was in Rockville, Illinois, at Rock Valley College. And the cops come in there and they was busting people's heads, which was crazy because we were just sitting around trying to figure out how to raise our black people as a community up. But we were being subversive. But I found it fascinating they were busting in our meeting, but I done been to like maybe half a dozen Ku Klux Klan meetings where I didn't actually, I got a chance to see it. But those half dozen meetings, I didn't have a gun, because if I had a gun, I'd have shot people. I'd have did one of those things where I'd have just killed, like these people, they killed 50 gay people the other day in Orlando or whatever. And I'd have killed me a couple of hundred white people. Because, see, those people first of all, if you got to put on a hood to hide your identity, you're a punk motherfucker. Excuse my language. You're a punk anyway. Because, see, but for us to say, well, we don't want Syrians in here. We don't want ISIS to come in here and do this and this. But we had the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
So when white people talk to somebody like me and then they go, well, what do you think? Don't ask me what I think. Really don't ask me what I think, because see, I've been black my whole life. I didn't just get black. I just got well off. I've always been black. I was always poor, but I always understood some basic stuff. That's the time when I got a chance to sit down and talk to the founder of our company. I broke all kinds of rules. He's Buddhist. I'm spiritual. Okay. I'm not supposed to touch him. I hugged him. The man is giving me $1 million. I gotta hug it, bro. I gotta hug it. His guards, they went crazy. But then his guards were neither one of them was as big as me. Man, I'm not a gigantic fella, but I'm 6'4", and I'm a kind of when I get down, I'm kind of a forceful guy. And the founder of our company is like 5'2". I'm 6'4". Okay. I almost picked him up. He's a little bitty short thing, you know. I was just tickled to death, you know, because he invited me to sit down and have dinner with him. He's a billionaire, Catherine. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but 2 other people that are billionaires. And I've talked to both of them. I've talked to Donald Trump. I've talked to Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki, I rode around his golf cart with him because he saved me from going to jail behind busting a white boy upside the head on a golf course, not too far from the house. Because one of the things, I don't know if you looked at any of the stuff that I have posted. One of them is health newspapers. Okay, I actually go out and give those things away, but I have places where I place those things. People pick them up, take them with them, and I love it when I get a phone call from customer service and they're saying, well, this person wants to buy coffee or whatever under your ID number, and I go, who is it? And they tell me, wait a minute, I don't know that person. They're gonna have to pay retail, or they can have the preferred customer price where they get a 25% discount. Mm-hmm. But the company calls us up and asks us stuff like that. They don't just because somebody says, well, they know my ID number, they're going to give it, they're going to let them have the product, whatever it costs. That's money out of my pocket. And the company knows that. But I handed this guy a health newspaper. And I took 3 more steps. And I had just left 50 of those newspapers in the clubhouse at the golf course. It's right around the corner from my house, which I could ride my bicycle to, or my wheelchair. I ride my wheelchair around the golf course sometimes just to be doing something, you know. Especially in the wintertime when we got all these snowbirds from Canada and up in Colorado where you are, whatever. People come down here because it gets cold where you are, girl.
Yeah.
Down here it is sweet. Most people that come down here, if they're not a snowbird, they don't leave. That's why I don't understand those people that live here and go, man, it's so damn hot, you know. Well, just go up in the mountains when it gets hot. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. Like, it's really, really hot here. I'm going to go do some stuff, and before dark, I'm going to be at our cabin up in the mountain. And then my wife's going to call. She's going to know whether or not I'm coming back down in the valley to spend the night here, or am I going to hang out with my Native American friends up there? Because I have Native American friends that I can identify with. In fact, when I first met them, they would kind of leer at me because they never sit down and talk with a black guy, especially a black guy talk as much as me. And they were selling caps that say they had Native American pride on them. And they were selling them for $3 a piece. Now, wait a minute. You can't make them for $3 a piece, right? They said, well, we're doing the best we can. You know, like we get the profit 80 cents if they sell them for $3 a piece. I said, really? I said, how about this? How about if I give you $5 a piece for them, as many of them as, what are you going to do with them? I'm going to find somebody who's willing to give me $10 a piece for them. Yeah. And I found a guy who was willing to give me $9.95. And he bought 5,000 of them from me. And it took 3 years to fill that order. But I made money. They made money. Because, see, first of all, instead of them making 80 cents, they're making $2.80. Mm-hmm. So they take a look at that. I mean, well, you know, like, so when there was one of my neighbors up there in the mountains, his daughter was going through something. They have a ceremony like a quinceañera, but it's a coming of age ceremony. This Native American, the Hopi tribe, and they did it at a place called Four Corners. Well, yeah, you're in Colorado, so you know what Four Corners is, right? Okay. Well, I went to Four Corners, and I went to this thing. They didn't tell me it was going to be like 3 days. Okay. Party, drinking, sweat lodge, smoking peyote. Woo! I didn't do that much peyote when I was in the military when I could get it for free. If somebody hand you some of it and you sweat this stuff out and you start seeing, I seen Jesus a couple times. I seen Buddha. In fact, I seen the masters of the Far East. The third day I was there, and I actually communed with them, and they told me that I should come to some valley in India where the Maharishi somebody was going to ascend. But I was hiding in the Georgia pine, so that's and then the killer party. I got back to the valley here, and within a year's time, a group of people had according to this group called that meets once a month called Outside the Box, that they had gotten spiritual telegraphs from somebody and told them that they should go to overseas too, and they were getting ready to go. Now you have to understand something. I'm well off, but I ain't stupid, okay? Because the people that were told this were middle class and upper middle class white people, upper middle class Mexicans, and they didn't get some basic stuff. They didn't get the fact that if one person on this planet is hungry, it's all everybody's responsibility. It ain't just me taking care of me. Okay, that's like when I say to somebody, you know, like put $10 in my PayPal account, I send you a sample pack, and they don't, or I tell them I send it to them, and then they still don't put it in there. I don't stress over it because see, they done took advantage of themselves, not me. I don't have a list of all the people that I'm not going to send samples to. I don't have that because one guy who's a minister now, I see him on the internet. He had me send samples to about a dozen people, and then there was, in fact, the only person that I trust to do that with, and I haven't physically met him, is David Snell. Okay, because Dennis Thorgenson turned me on to David, and me and David have talked several different times. David's got a Christian heart. That's just the way he is, you know what I mean?
He's a good guy. I've talked to him many times.
And there ain't a whole lot of like that out there, because a lot of people come away on the internet and in person there, you know, like who was that, who went from being a devout NRA Republican to a liberal Democrat after I posted 500 different things to him that he didn't know about what a liberal was supposed to do. A liberal is supposed to do the very same things that the Christian is supposed to do. Okay, he's supposed to be looking for no praise for it. He didn't know this. He actually didn't know this in America. And I said, well, that's part of being the white privilege, I guess. You don't have to know stuff like that. And he goes, yeah, well, I heard people talk about that. And why not only Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Of course, all lives matter. But for 300 years, Black lives didn't matter. Okay, that's why it's a big deal now. Because when people ask me, well, what do you think? Don't ask me that. Please don't ask me this question like, what do I think? I think that, first of all, we shouldn't have to have this discussion. I think we should, my youngest daughter's mom is Polish. My daughter's a beautiful girl. She's 23 years old, and she's gorgeous. But when she was 12, she told me I was a sucker because I worked for a living, because her mother told her I was a sucker because I worked for a living. But her mother was a person that I probably should have kept on the side as a girlfriend and shouldn't did anything else, but I didn't do that. She became an intricate part of my life because she got pregnant. She couldn't have children when we got together. 8 years later, we had a little girl, but she already had two boys. Those two boys, though. And since she was Polish and these two boys, his daddy was redneck, these were two little white boys. They grew up to be white on the outside and black on the inside. And both of them are now married to black women. Both of them have kids. Both of them own their own businesses. Both of them at least come out here at least once a year, and they get along with my wife perfectly. They don't get along with their mom because the mentality just isn't there. And it wasn't that what was that? My mother told one of the boys one day, if you keep hanging out with my mother always called me James Edward, not James Edward, James Edward. And she said, you keep hanging out with James Edward, and you're going to learn something. And these boys took it to heart, because there was a couple of times that we did some work where they were blamed for stuff because I'm a black man, they were white boys. And we was at a situation where there would be black people around or whatever. Like we was at a picnic, and these people had rented a ice machine from me, and they said it wasn't working. Well, they had it hooked up to a well and didn't have no water pressure. So because you got to shoot water into those trays, you know, and when you're making a lot of ice. Anyway, I had to show up there, and I was there a long time before I was there doing what I had to do, and it took me like 4 hours to do what I had to do. I had to go find out what the problem was and fix the problem. To fix the problem, I had to go buy a pump and put a pump on this well and then maintain the water pressure so it could make ice. And it was like 500-600 black people that were cousins to each other, and there was no white people except for these two white boys. And so needless to say, all the black kids got together, and they're going to jump these two white boys, okay? Because, see, they're from all over the South, and these two white boys from a little small town I come from, where they're kind of protected in so much as that nobody mess with them, simply because they know I'll kill them. Because see, there's too much explaining for me to do if somebody messes with these two white boys. It's just entirely too much explaining. So there's one guy coming, his name is Jobo. He said, man, look, one of them boys you got with you, man, cursed out my nephew. I said, really? Interesting, considering the fact they're not allowed to curse. He go, yeah, they did, you know, and my nephew don't lie. Said, really? Oh, okay. So I went over and asked the boys and what was going on and whatever, and they were sitting in a swing. I could see them, and they could see me. That was one of the things that I found from having children around you. As long as you can see them and they can see you, can't nobody, you know, they can't be whatever. Somebody can't run off with them, or somebody can't misuse and abuse them. Now, I didn't see none of this stuff that this black guy came to me and said it happened. Come to find out, none of it actually happened, okay? This black guy was just messing with me to see what I was going to do. Okay, what he didn't understand was I just soon whoop his ass, okay? And then call the cops, and then have the cops show up because with that many black people, they're going to kill me. I know what they're going to do. They're going to kill these white boys. They're going to kill me, but they're going to kill me to set an example. So my remedy is I can see the handwriting on the wall called cops. I didn't do. What I did was I explained to Jobo that these boys had manners, and they were taught to respect all people. And there's no reason in the world for them to have cursed out anybody about anything, because I didn't see them move. I didn't see any of them, your nephew or any of his friends, even get close to where these guys were. So I don't know how they cursed them out or whatever. And he said, so he left and he came back and he had his mother with him. Now, Jobo's 50. His mom's like 70 something. And she said, you know, you got a lot of nerve, boy. You got you be carrying these white boys around with you all the time like they something. And I said, ma'am? He says, yeah. And I noticed the other day at the singing union that you had them with you in the church's van. I said, yes, ma'am. I drive the church's van. Okay. I drive the youth choir, and they're in the youth choir. Okay. In fact, they stayed in the youth choir to both of them voice change, because I raised them from the time they were 2 and 4 to 14 and 16. Okay. When their voices changed, they got out of the choir. That's as simple as that. But for that to happen, a lot of other stuff had to happen. Little black girls had to keep little black girls from climbing in and out of their bedroom windows, because they knew after they figured out some basic stuff about relationships or whatever and how to treat women. One of them, the oldest ones, there was this little blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl who really wanted to get with the oldest boy. His name is Ron, but she wanted him to do stuff that he wasn't comfortable doing. And I ain't talking about just sex stuff. I'm talking about take her daddy's guns and go out in the woods and just shoot to be shooting. Or take his daddy's, her daddy's jitney. Jitney is a 6-wheel vehicle that doesn't have a steering wheel, but it got these 2 sticks that you drive with. It's an amphibious vehicle, and go play in the mud. He would love to do that, okay? But the only way he would do something like that is if he had permission from the person who owned the vehicle. She didn't get that part. Well, it's my daddy's, and if I say it's okay, it's okay. Well, his question, his thing was, he called me up and they called me dad after a while. He said, Dad, you know, like, what am I supposed to do? You know? And I said, well, her daddy's not around, her mom's not around. No. Then what the hell are you even doing at her house? Okay? Because see, she can say anything. What you do is you get with her, you go next door to the neighbor's house, okay, which is a family of mixed race people, and tell them I sent you, and they're gonna know exactly. And you tell them what you just told me, and they're gonna tell you what to do. 4 hours later, whatever, black guy shows up where I was at, and he goes, "I got your boy in the back of the truck." And I said, "Really? What's this?" Yeah, well, that little girl, she hot for him. She wants to give him some of that. She wants to. What did he had a word for it. Having sex, and it wasn't sex. It was, oh yeah, he wanted her to. She wanted him to cut her. I mean, that was the deal. And he said, well, you know, you have to, you know, these. And he's a black, and he says, well, you know, these white boys, you're gonna have to show them. You got to teach them. You know, like you always take them to that whorehouse in town and get them. I said, well, they ain't old enough for that kind of mess. Well, no, you know, like it used to be. You take a boy to a house of real repute when he's 16 years old, and he got with a whore or whatever. Well. Quit doing that. I guess when porno became so easy to get a hold of, whatever, people quit doing that. But where I come from, you knew what you were supposed to be doing. Problem is that you had to make sure you weren't with your cousin or whatever. 15 or 20 times a month, I get people calling me up and they say stuff like, "Yeah, but all that stuff you posted, all of it couldn't have been true." And then for the next 20 minutes, they explain to me how it became true in their life. I love it when people say, one lady goes, you know, my husband didn't have no energy at all for nothing. He go to work, come home, sit in front of TV. Most of the time he go to sleep. You know, I put a plate in front of him. He go to sleep before he eat. I said, well, and she goes, well, you think, and at first she said, well, you think that the product goes, he don't drink no coffee. I said, well, how about the tea? How about the cocoa? She said, you got cocoa? I said, yeah, we call it chocolate. And she says, well, what's the difference? I said, well, it's got the herb in it, and it's got cocoa, and it's got milk in it already. All you do is mix it with hot water or 2% milk. She bought a box, and there's 20 of them in a box, and I think it's like $20 or something. And within a week's time, she calls me up, and she's mad because she says, according to her, every time she bend over, you know, he wants to get with her. And I said, yeah, but you said he had no energy, whatever. She said, yeah, he come in from work, first thing he do is run and go get in the bathtub, and he'll holler and they want me to come wash his back. I know we got water all over the bathroom. He says, I ain't really complaining, but you have to understand, we've been married 17 years, and I ain't got the stamina for this. You're going to have to come talk to him. You're going to complain about what most people would love.
Oh, that's funny.
The other day, it was Tuesday. No reason to rub him to acting like that.
It was Tuesday.
Well, what do you want me to do about it? Well, you need to talk to him. Well, tell him what? Exactly. That was part of your okay, fine. Then one lady says, well, hey, look, like that's our secret. But I think he's sleeping with my sister too. And I have to understand that her and her sister and her husband, they all live in the same place. Her and her husband been married 60 years. And he was sleeping with her sister. And his name is Faye Davis. And they busted him at a catfish restaurant on a Sunday after church in front of me. They invited me to come to church with them I don't know if you ever been to a Pentecostal church, but I didn't think it was like a big deal until I went there. And wait a minute, y'all talking tongues? Y'all got this big old thing where y'all sort of kneel on this big old step thing and you start talking to whoever or whatever. And, okay. And it was, what I liked about it was only 45 minutes long. I really like that. Then we went and had something to eat, and these ladies busted it. And we all had a big laugh about it. And then I thought to myself, as I was driving back to where I live, which was like 40 miles from where we was having something to eat, if I hadn't got involved with this herb, these ladies, I would have never met him, Mr. Davis, because he had rental property. I would have never met these ladies because they're wonderful ladies. Everybody's in their 70s. Nobody is like a teenage in their 50s and 60s. They were in their 70s. And they thought it was like a big deal to just be able to sit and hold hands with each other. But to be able to do more than that is a wonderful thing. And that's why, or, like, I ain't got no love for colored people at all. It's one of these ladies say, but she's now, I'm going to try to find me a black man and see what they got. Because I done heard this and I done heard that. Can you tell me? I said, no, ma'am, I can't tell you nothing. I can't tell you. Oh, you finna leave? You wanna say hello to Catherine?
Yeah.
Come on. Hi. Show her how cute you are.
Hi.
Well, wait a minute.
Hi.
You're gonna have to come over here because here the camera is right here.
Hi.
She's waving at you. She can't see your hand way down there. How about you, Gavin guy?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
She's got her dog with the what is
Oh, nice.
This is your teddy bear that's got this $12 dress on. Jesus.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, sequins.
Yeah, and it's glowing.
Oh, it glows. Yeah. I like that.
And then a grill. Look.
Oh, it's got a grip. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see your kitty cat. Okay, brother. Let's see your kitty cat. Okay. Yeah. You happy? So y'all finna leave, Papa, huh? Where you going?
To see Daisy.
Y'all going to see who?
Daisy the dog.
Oh, you're going to see the dog. Okay, cool. So you like the dog? They just got a dog Sunday.
Oh, nice. Fun.
Her name is Daisy.
Her name is Daisy.
Well, James, we can stop it here and let you say a good, proper goodbye to your grandkids there. I want you to send me a link on Facebook because when I put this on YouTube, I want to make sure your link is there, your contact information, so people can get in touch with you about your products. All right?
I'll do it. And I appreciate the call.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me.
All right. Hey,
we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye-bye, little one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Leave meeting. There you go. All right. Leave meeting.